In 5, 4. Like, totally gather around, freaks. No, duh. Don't be grody to the max. Be bitchin' and like totally join us around the righteous internet radio and the tubular internet campfire. I am sure. Barf me out. Gag me with a spoon. I am sure.
Behold, the odyssey of a chameleon of the silver screen, a sorcerer of chaos and introspection who weaves through genres with unmatched finesse. With fervor and unpredictability, this cinematic alchemist transforms scripts into gold, captivating audiences in thrillers and whimsical adventures alike. Join us as we watch a man shift from explosive action heroics to profound vulnerability, while he crafts a legacy that defies the ordinary, embarking on a mystical journey of artistic audacity and endless reinvention. Because this month, Hey, Did You See This One? Invites you to be trapped in a cage.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hey, Did You See This One? The weekly review, reaction, roundtable discussion podcast where we just have to ask, hey, did you see this one? On this show, we take a film and pull it completely apart, leaving no stone unturned, which is why it goes on and on and on and on till the sun comes up. This week, we are finally leaving the cage we've been trapped in all month, the Nicolas Cage cage, or the Nick Cage in Nic-Vember. We're finishing out the month with 1983's hit, I wouldn't say hit, cult film, as cult status now, Valley Girl, which also introduces us to Nick Cage in the first place. So we did it. Nicolas Cage, Rage in the Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
And this is episode 161. So where you been? If you're playing at home, it's season 3, episode 12. I would like at this time to welcome back to the show for the second time, I believe, the man, the myth, the legend, star of stage and screen, the world's most magnificent man, Jake Thurgood.
Hi, guys.
I almost dead named you, and B, I almost I said the wrong. It's the world's most amazing man.
That's fine.
So we have to start over. In 5, 4. I'm just kidding. Welcome back to the show, Jake.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You're a victim of circumstance. The 3 movies we had before this were much better, I think, in my opinion. And it came down to this or Mandy. Now, we let a giant wheel decide the movies for this month. And when I showed you the 2 movies, your reaction was kind of like, ugh, Mandy looks gross, and Valley Girl looks better, but I don't know. I think in retrospect, Mandy might have been a better way
I
to
think I
end this one.
made a big mistake.
Yeah. But that said, thank you for coming back.
My pleasure.
Like I said, we did use a wheel. We picked from 55 movies. We narrowed it down to 16. We let people on social media decide those movies. We're now at the end with Valley Girl, and the two movies that we did last week and this week, Raising Arizona and Valley Girl, I will pit head to head. Boom, tomorrow, and then early next week we will have a victor to see who the ultimate Nic Cage movie is. It comes down to Con Air versus either Valley Girl or Raising Arizona. So that's the business of the hour. Jake, the last time you were here, we didn't have this segment.
Okay.
But all I'm going to ask you to do is give us a just sort of a brief synopsis of the film. But before you do that, we have to hear from Zardos. Zardos, could you please come in?
Zardos
hello.
speaks to you. He demands you synopsize this film. Tell him how, why, who, what occurs in this film.
Jesus. Well, I better do what he says.
You better do what he says. You better do what Zardos says.
Luckily, I wrote down a little synopsis. So, by the way, I was going to shave a mohawk for this, but I totally pussed out. The synopsis. I have. Let's see if this jives with you. Skip, David Esner, must decide whether to have sex with Susie, Michelle Meyrink, or Susie's stepmom, Erin. Okay, and then there's like a minor subplot involving Nicolas Cage. He's like a punk or something. He's a punk rocker.
Mm-hmm.
I might need you to help me out here.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. That A plot had like 3 segments, and I thought it was very important. Also, I'm pretty sure the stepmom's name was Beth. So,
my bad. That might be her real name.
But that's correct. That's right. Basically, punk rocker Randy and little bit country fucking Julie hit it off and have a teenager relationship, even though everybody in this movie. So the thing that blew my mind is the fact that they're like, we're going to prom, and then it's junior prom, and then it's like these guys are 16 at the most.
Yeah, how old is junior prom?
That's junior year in high school, isn't it? Like grade 10. These guys are like 14 or 15. I don't know. Anyway,
the age range of this movie was really hard to pick
the
apart.
Parents look young.
Yes.
It was a lot. But I think that's acceptable for Zardos. I think
we're also old now, so seeing a movie where the parents look like they're 40 is like, those parents look too young, and you're like, oh wait, hold on.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. I think the dad, Beth's husband, looked age appropriate, and the Julie's parents are like hippies. They probably got knocked up when they were like 17. So I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this is week 3 in a row where Jason uses the phrase "knocked up," and I go, "Ugh, disgusting."
Impregnated. Is that better?
Yeah, that's worse in my opinion.
Very clinical, yeah. Okay. Artificially inseminated. She was a utero baby, or whatever it's called.
I don't know why knocked up is my go-to.
Because you're a disgusting male. You're a disgusting, horrible man.
Okay. Well,
next week on the show, Knocked Up, starring Seth Rogen and that other person.
Every week for 4 weeks.
I just realized I don't know what knocked up means. Like, what does that mean? What am I supposed to imagine? Is it bad?
Like,
yeah, you're like getting fucked. That's what knocked. Like you're knocked up.
Nice.
You're getting knocked up.
Your boots have knocked together, and
they got knocked so hard that they're up inside of you for 9 months.
I knocked a sperm up into you.
Cool. Steve's already fighting for his life. Fantastic. Well, with that, we can move on to our next segment, where, of course, we are going to give our brief history.
A brief history.
I seem to have like halfway lost my voice, so bear with me. It happened within like the last hour. So
So that burping you did. You burped your voice out.
I'm leaving that in. So here on Hey Did You See This One, the guest always goes first. So Jake, why don't you give us your brief history with the film Valley Girl?
As in, like, I watched it yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd never seen it before. I watched it yesterday with Alina and my buddy Merv. I had a big weed gummy, and I think the weed gummy probably helped make the film more coherent. I'm thinking, because I skimmed through it again today, and I was like, nah, it wasn't because I got high. It's an incoherent film. Anyway, that's my history. I watched it yesterday.
No,
and,
that's fair. I
yeah.
feel like that's gonna be basically the same thing for all of us. How about you, Steve?
Yep, I had never seen it before, and I was semi looking forward to it because I haven't seen it, and I like to watch early performances. But this is sort of like before Nick Cage ever started becoming Nick Cage. There's a little bit of manic Cage in here at times, but only like an echo or a shadow of what he will someday become. And it's not enough to keep me interested. I don't want to go full into my final thoughts already, but I didn't really care for this movie. Didn't like it. And, you know, I try to watch things and to at least talk about the stuff that I did like. And this movie had so little of that I don't know what I'm going to do, because it also didn't have enough for me to hate it either. I'm like, I don't hate this. I just don't like it in any way at all. Like,
Yeah.
It's not even bad enough for me to sit here and shit talk it for 3 hours or whatever. It's more just like, I don't have a lot to say, but I guess we'll find out if I do or not once we start revving the engine.
Yeah.
Once we knock each other up.
Once we
With
knock
our
each
thoughts.
other up
Yeah.
with our thoughts and our dreams and our hopes. I had never even heard of it. I hadn't looked back at Nick Cage's IMDb far enough to know this movie existed.
I mean, I had heard of it, but like, it's just like a nothing thing.
I will say that, like you guys, I watched it literally yesterday for the first time. But what I find strange about it is I looked into it a little bit. It has cult status, and I couldn't help but wonder if I had watched this.
It's a literal cult though that likes it. That's what.
Yeah. They're just knocking each other up. I can't help but wonder if I had seen this at like the same time as I saw the Babysitters Club. Fuck me. The Breakfast Club. If this movie I would hold in high regard as like a classic teen 80s thing. It's not as good as
I think the Breakfast Club has character development, interesting narrative, interesting interactions between characters that are very clearly characters. It's not a group of girls who are all interchangeable and have absolutely, like, I think maybe one of them has more personality than the rest, to the point that I'm like, I can tell the difference between this person and the rest, but everybody in this fucking movie feels exactly the same. The two guys, Nicolas Cage and the other guy, feel the same. They feel like they're the same character, just in different clothing to me. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just
Valley Girl. Valley Girl has frontal nudity, so it's got that going for it. It kind of, the whole thing felt a little bit like a porn movie, like the dialogue, and it had this weird unfinished quality. There's a lot of times in this movie I was like, is this all improvised? Is there a script?
Is it all improvised?
Yeah.
I talk about that in we'll get to that in the body.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I mean, if that's our brief history, I will say that the soundtrack was great. I like all of the music in this movie. That's what I was waiting for.
Not a lot of punk music though for a movie about a punk.
Just that one band that kind of sounds like if the Descendants wasn't like, they kind of sounded like the Descendants a little bit, or like one of those, like, you know, if Weezer was in the 80s.
Yeah, there was that Weezer band there. Yeah.
I didn't know what band it is, but based off of It's probably like modern. No, it's probably like the Plimsolls. Anyway, let's move on to director talk. We'll talk about Martha.
All right. Quiet on set. Are we rolling? Okay, let's shoot this piece of shit. Sound. Speed. Action!
Yeah, it was the Plimsolls. I made a 100% educated guess.
The Plimsolls.
Dun, 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 dun. You're right, though. There was no punk rock. That was bizarre for how punk this guy
For the
was.
era, that was punk rock.
Yeah.
For the teenage girls that went to go see this movie, that was punk rock.
Yeah.
I guess,
so.
Yeah. Okay. I'll save this point for later.
Okay. Well, all I wanted to say is Martha Coolidge. Looking at her IMDb, it seems like she has made like 1 million movies and television shows that are more woman-centric, if that makes sense. Like shows more directed to women, especially later. She worked on like Sledgehammer and The Twilight Zone in the 80s, which aren't necessarily gendered. But later in her career, she did a lot of TV that are like traditional shows you would associate with being more directed at women. So that's really all I noticed. She's just done like 1 or 2 episodes of shows here and there. I think she did a bunch of episodes of CSI. She worked on Weeds.
I honestly look at this and I don't know. Like, it looks like she did a pretty good mix of things. Like, I don't know a lot of these things to say that these movies are directed towards women or not. Like,
Okay.
I don't know what Bare Essentials is. I don't know what Rambling Rose is. I don't know what Lost Yonkers is. So they could be directed at anyone. I don't know for sure. But there's a couple things that I have seen, but there's a lot of stuff I haven't. I don't know. I'm sure she's a good director. This is the only thing that I know for certain that I have seen out of everything on her IMDb, which is rare because she's done a lot. Usually someone with this much work, I'd be familiar with at least a few things, but not really, you know?
Yeah, she did she produced a few things, but not really. She worked up until 2019. Put out a movie then called I'll Find You, but there's not a whole lot to say about her. I just wanted to give her a mention since we haven't done anything by her on this show before.
Yeah.
Well, she directed the hell out of this thing. That's all I know.
Yeah.
She was like, just talk like your girls from the Valley. And they were like, barf me out, gag me with a spoon. She was like, 1 take. That's all we need.
There's a lot of good visuals in this movie. Like, I thought for a while, I was like, I might enjoy this a lot more with the sound off, or just like listen to the audio of like a better movie or like just music. Like, it would be pretty nice. Like some nice shots of LA in the 80s and the mall and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that I did notice. Like reminded of what malls were like in the early 80s was a great little segment.
Yeah.
I think if you were at a bar, you know, and this was on one of the TVs,
yeah,
I'd find myself glancing over every now and then.
Yeah, it would be a good like big screen thing to play in a cool bar. Yeah. I don't know if we can credit her directing with how cool everything looks. It's just,
you guys are
they did a great job of looking like it's
yeah.
the 80s because it's the 80s.
This movie would be great if the sound was off and we were drinking in a place that served us as much alcohol as we can afford to buy.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how I recommend it. Yeah.
So if you're at the Swan Dive or if you're at some, you know, a trendy bar on Queen Street, just check the screens to see if this movie's playing. That's been our episode for this week.
Isn't around anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe the fountain will have this one.
The Dundas Video, when it was still open, they had a little CRT TV, like you downstairs to the bathroom, and it would always be playing like Ace Ventura or Ghostbusters. So if you're like waiting for the bathroom, you just watch like 2 minutes of Ghostbusters. You walk down there right at the right time, and it's showing this Galleria Mall, and you just catch it. That's a memory. It creates synapses.
Did I ever tell you when I went to? You ever go to Wayne Gretzky's bar that used to be underneath Second City downtown?
Yeah, I've been there.
When you go to the bathroom there, instead of music or anything, it was just Wayne Gretzky reading his book on tape. He's just like, And that was the first coach that ever, God, you really got through to me. Yeah. And you're just pissing
and don't forget to wash your hands before you leave the bathroom.
Yeah.
There's that extra line in there. Yeah. I mean, I am pressed to say anything good or bad about the director, other than they directed this movie and I didn't care for it. Also, like going through my Letterboxd when I was posting my review for this, there's a pretty decent mix of people who loved it and hated it as well. So I don't feel like I'm the weirdo who just doesn't get it or something. Like a lot of people are on the lower end, and there's a few people that are on the high end, and there's very few that are in the middle. So I was kind of like, all right, this is either you love it or it seems. And people whose opinion I genuinely respect and seek when I am looking to be like, what did you think of this movie? Some of them really liked it, and it's like up there with like 4 or 5 stars. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand. But there's also maybe a generational thing where people who are older than me feel a little bit more connected to this because they watched it when they were younger, because it doesn't hit the same as a John Hughes movie does. John Hughes movies in a lot of ways are relevant throughout all adolescence, no matter the generation, because it's dealing with what it's like to be a teenager, not so much what it's like to be a teenager in 1983 LA, where one boy is a jock and the other boy is like known by every single fucking group of people who ever existed. They're like, yo, what up, Nicolas Cage? Anyway, yeah, it just doesn't, it's not universal. It's a very weird sort of niche existence. It's like Clueless, right? Like I can't connect to a lot of the characters in Clueless because they're from a different world than me, but the themes in Clueless are a little bit more approachable than this.
I guess this probably holds up pretty well if you're like, if you're in the 80s and you've just watched a whole bunch of other like kind of problematic teen comedies like Porky's and shit. And slasher movies and like any like teen stuff.
Oh man, that's
what this might hold up.
Movie.
Yeah,
I kept being like, Freddy Krueger better show up and kill me.
Yeah, you're right. It was missing a monster for sure.
This movie is a great setup for a fucking Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, right. It always felt like something wasn't like either. I kept thinking it felt like a porn with no porn.
Yeah,
but it's like a slasher movie with like we're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, which is exactly what Jason Voorhees is. He is the porn in the Friday the 13th movies, right?
Yeah,
you're waiting for the porn to happen, and it never happens.
He knocks you up with a knife,
with a machete.
Yeah,
I kind of figured. Did we both say machete for some reason? I kind of figured it out.
That's his.
By the end of it. The way we said it, we both said it like machete.
Machete.
By the end of the film, I realized that this is sort of like if they took like a Babysitter's Club book or like some sort of teen young adult like romance novel and turned it into a movie.
Club. I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude about it. The movie's fine if you like it. Go on.
It wouldn't really work as a book, would it?
I mean, but it feels almost literary because it's just like a dumb. I mean, the visuals obviously not, but like it was if it was like 100 pages long book that you got at the Scholastic Book Fair in the 80s, and there was a whole series of them,
and there were all of the chapters that were the description of a montage that was the full length of whatever song they paid.
Come on, you know what I mean. Like literally.
Oh shit! Sorry. I accidentally pressed play on the movie.
Let's watch the movie.
The story. I'm saying that the story reminds me of like a romance novel. That's what I'm trying to get at, but for teens.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget about the weird subplot where that one girl's mom wants to fuck her boyfriend so badly, and it's quite disturbing.
Yes.
Well, that's what Jake was saying in the.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking about something else.
Zoned out completely.
Good movie, yeah.
That scene with Skip and the mom was like the weirdest non-sexual tension ever. Like that was the strangest scene ever.
Yeah.
What is she referencing when she goes? Or we're going to go through it? Like,
we'll break it all down in the body of the episode because I have things to say about that scene specifically. Cool, but this is now the body of the episode.
The body of the episode, you say?
The body of the episode.
Are you saying it's the body of the episode?
The body of the episode.
Cool.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to
the episode. for this thing.
Ho, everybody back up, because here comes the body of the episode.
There you go.
That's the extended version that we very rarely use, but when you went like this,
I had to
you
press
went like
play.
this.
I knew what you.
Yeah. So let me set the scene. Julie, played by Deborah Foreman, who, by the way, was only in like 20 things. And she plays the same character, it seems like, in everything, just like smiling blonde girl, main character. And her friends roam the mall talking about boys and fashion and perfectly capturing the Valley girl vibe. And this basically establishes that they live in a consumer-driven world, taken over by sitting in malls.
This is before video killed the radio star, right? This is back when the radio star was still alive and well.
That's right.
I think the radio star was very much still alive
Okay.
at this point in
I just
history.
wanted to get my timeline straight.
It's very colorful and superficial, but charming. I don't know. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. But my first note is basically like, I miss the malls like this. And did you guys clock? There's a Chick-fil-A, which I didn't realize that.
Oh no,
that old.
Did not clock that. I was distracted by the weird wood. The mall looked like the inside of a whale or something. You know what I mean? In that food court, like these ribs.
It looks a lot like the Square One food court to me. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Square One.
Yeah.
But this is pretty much what Square One used to look like when I was a tiny little boy, a little baby boy.
Our equivalent of Square One, is that the Scarborough Mall?
Square One?
Or is that the Brampton Mall?
It's between Mississauga and here.
Our equivalent of that.
Mississauga, yeah.
Our equivalent of that of Square One. I don't know if I've ever been to Square One. I think I have a couple times. The Brampton Mall I have been to, but our equivalent of that would be Halifax Shopping Center, and it was the same.
Talking about the West Mall, or are you talking about? Oh wait. Anyway, this is stupid. We shouldn't talk about this because nobody gives a fuck.
Yes. Yeah. I was just trying to relate to you and to Jake. Me and Jake would hang around at the mall very similarly to the way these girls hung out at the mall. We'd hang out in the food court. We'd, talk to other people our age.
Shopping spree at Randy River.
We'd get a shopping spree at the Gap or Randy River.
Get our tips bleached.
Yeah. We'd be given a certain amount of money to go get yourself a pair of jeans and a hoodie for the upcoming school year.
The next 4 years. Yeah.
We'd blow it on Maxim magazines and wrestling action figures.
Yeah.
Maxim magazines.
Yeah, that's right. We had a problem.
Speaking of,
you guys were
scantily clad women. Dude, one time, so I used to buy Maxim. And Jake, I think you did this too. You take like the pinups and just put them all over your walls.
That's right.
And then my uncle comes into my room.
I can be friends with you anymore, Jason.
My uncle comes into my room. Dude, I was 15.
I'm losing respect for you. No, I'm joking.
That's fine. You don't have to have respect for me. You just have to be my co-host. Just this comment got me.
What did your uncle do to you?
My uncle walks in and he goes, Why are your walls plastered ceiling to floor with softcore porn? And I was like, well, I don't really see it that way. And he was like,
you definitely jerk off to this, Jason. We all know you're doing it.
Every single person on this wall is in a bikini. And then right in the middle is Britney Spears with like nothing on. And I'm like, whatever. Get out.
You just roll around the room and anywhere you look, there's something you can masturbate to. It's good.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
And then he went downstairs.
Boner alert.
You sound the boner alert at Christmas dinner. And everyone was like, we know.
I had a couple of boner alerts during this movie.
Yeah.
A couple of minor ones.
Minor boner alerts where I'm like, do I? Should I? Could I? Maybe you shouldn't. I'm 40.
But nothing was sexy in this movie, though. The nudity in this movie was not sexy. It was like so sterile and uncomfortable that like I was far from a boner alert is what I'm saying.
It was always bad. Like whenever there was the first couple of instances of nudity, we're about to get to the party, right? Or is there something else?
Let's see. They seem to like that random boy that she talks to once. Then the Tommy looks like a
that
villain.
doesn't really do anything for the rest of the movie. He's in line with them at the theater or whatever, and then he's also like at the very end, he's the one announcing something. I can't even remember what he's announcing. He's just like, "Hey, everybody, it's me, the guy that everyone fucking forgot about." We're like, "Yeah, we don't remember your name."
Yeah, we're gonna get to the party very soon.
Yeah.
But, Tommy is introduced. He looks like a straight up fucking. His dad is going to tear down the ski lodge, so they got to say they should have had that in this movie. Like if Tommy's fucking parents were going to burn down the mall.
There's no ski lodges in LA, but yeah, I know what you mean.
There's nothing to Tommy. Like he's just kind of he's just a jerk.
He's got a polo shirt on with his fucking collar
To
pop.
be fair, everybody who's wearing a polo, it is popped. They're not walking around unpopped. It's illegal. That's the real alert. Those collars are popped forever. So there was a guy who was wearing 2 shirts, both collared, both popped, double popped collar.
That look actually came back in like 2009, which is insane to me. That's a pretty like prep jock look all through history. They've also said
I popped the collar in my day. I'm not saying that I'm immune to the popped collar, but in the context of this movie, a popped collar was like a boner alert for this guy's a prick. This guy's
Yeah.
a prick.
Pop collared and Ellen DeGeneres haircut.
Yeah.
You know he's the heel of
Different,
the
yeah,
movie.
different eras of Ellen hair too. Like all of his
Yes.
crew had different-
Every guy in the movie had an Ellen haircut.
And we're gonna talk about Cool as Ice in a few weeks here. Spoilers: we pre-taped it, so if we've seen it already. You may notice some similar. We play it off in the episode like we're recording it that week, but I'll tell you right
I think
now.
I have a mental breakdown in the middle of the episode, and I say, "I can't do this anymore. I can't lie. I can't. There's too much going on in my head."
But Cool as Ice has a very similar storyline to this. Jake, if you're not, are you
The
familiar
Vanilla
with
Ice?
Cool?
Vanilla Ice?
Yeah.
Film? Yes.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
that. It's like the same plot as this, but like better somehow.
So what? Yeah, it is better. It's a wonderful film.
Which is well, that's from a different movie, but that's him dressed up as
We explained it in the Cool as Ice episode.
Yeah,
Stay
okay.
tuned for that, guys.
God.
Do
Do you guys know the song? I wanted to bring this up. Do you guys know the song "Valley Girl" by Frank Zappa?
Yes.
So
Probably. I don't know the names of songs. Does he sing about Valley Girls in it?
That's right.
So basically in that song, what happens is he just like
What's the
Valley
plot?
Girl. She's a Valley Girl. Well, it's funny you say that because it came out 1 year before this.
And it's not
And
in
has-
the movie. Holy
And
shit.
it's not in this movie. And also his daughter Moon Unit, there's these segments of the song where she just talks like the Valley Girls do in this. And I was fully expecting for their credits to roll and Valley Girl to play.
His
I don't-
daughter's name is Moon Unit.
His daughter's name is Moon Unit and his son's name is Dweezil.
Dweezil is a fine name for a young man, but Moon Unit.
Moon Unit.
Moon.
She goes by Moon now.
That sounds like currency that you would use on the moon.
Yeah.
Get your Moon Units here.
It's going to cost you 50 Moon Units.
I don't know why they have
Only
a
got
pan.
25 Moon Units.
I don't know why they have a pan-Atlantic accent on the moon, but you know.
Because
Are you
happen when I move there? I'm going to make sure everybody talks that way.
Are you aware? Are you about to tell us that Frank Zappa sued the people from this movie?
Well, no.
Okay.
Are you about to tell us that? Because
I
all
am.
I wanted to say is he basically invented. He pointed out that they talk like this, and the subsect of words and phrases from this movie.
Yeah.
He basically like pushed forward, and then people started using it even more because now it was pop culture. So Jake,
Yeah.
take it away. I didn't know this was dope.
Yeah, I like saw it today. That he was like, I invented Valley Girl. And I think he was thinking about like he was talking to people about making some sort of movie based on the song.
Right.
And then the movie came out and he was like, oh, and he,
Wait a minute.
he like
Time out.
leaves, tried to sue them and it didn't go anywhere. As far
That
as-
reeks of like somebody buying aviator sunglasses, and then a year later everybody starts wearing them, and then it walks around and
You get
says,
mad.
"I'm the one who started this trend."
Well,
you
that's
know?
the funny
Yes.
thing, because his song is an observation. It's not like he
Yeah.
invented any of these words. It was just an observation that people in
Yeah.
Encino talk like this. And
He
then
didn't invent that character out of the clear blue sky.
Yeah. I hope that he won his lawsuit and they paid him in moon units.
well, no, he would go on to help the dude from Twisted Sister fight Tipper Gore on the parental advisory sticker on, and they lost that as well because that fucking sticker still exists. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They probably saw him walking and they're like, "Is this the fucking moon unit guy who tried to say that he invented Valley Girls? Get him out of here."
Oh, now we're at the beach.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we see Nic Cage. They're smitten. I think she looks great in those sunglasses. When she's got the like red and red, I thought it was a good look. I'm going to talk fashion.
Are we going to talk about his chest
Might as
hair?
well. Yeah.
Why does he?
Whoop.
I was going to make. I was going to make my background a close up of his chest hair, but it was, I can't say I couldn't.
Too much.
Yeah, it's
Nicolas
amazing.
Cage goes through crazy transformations physically, and I don't think people think about it all that often because they just think Nic Cage, crazy actor, but they don't think about the fact that like he gets very jacked for movies, and then he gets very fat for like out of shape and like pudgy for movies, like in Leaving Las Vegas, he's kind of gross, and then in this movie he's like jacked, and then in Con Air he's massively jacked, and then in Raising Arizona he's slim. It's like he goes through these metamorphoses physically, and you don't really think about it. And I've never really kind of sat down and watched a bunch of Nic Cage in a row in the way that we're doing this month to be able to fully appreciate it. And the fact that we've kind of jumped around over almost a 20-year period of time helps. And that's more so to just be like, I don't think he gets enough credit for making those physical transformations, because he really doesn't need to. He can be the character in Con Air without being jacked, and it'll still be believable. He just did that because he's like, well, if he's been in prison, he should probably be jacked. And then he's also like, and from, I don't know, wherever Forrest Gump came from. So I'm going to do a Forrest Gump voice.
Well, why does he have his chest hair shaved like the landing strip of a porn star's vagina?
Yeah, it looks like he got a Brazilian wax and then just slapped it onto his chest.
That's the Trillium. That's the Ontario flower. That's the shape of the Ontario
Yeah, you're right. I feel like a bit of a Trillium benefit coming on right here.
Where it's the Guardian symbol from Destiny and Destiny 2. He was really ahead of his time. He was like,
yeah,
the symbol's going to be big one day.
He just has just enough so that it shows when his collar is open.
Right.
He's like, I don't want any more. That's the bare minimum to have a cool hairy chest. Okay, this is really distracting. You guys,
I know, I can't stop looking at it. I wanted to bring up the fact. I wanted to bring up the fact that like his buddy Fred is like, we got to go to the valley. We got to go to the party. There's going to be girls. He's like, I'm not going to the valley.
Yeah.
I hate
Which
the
is
valley.
Such a stereotypical thing for like the punk from Hollywood Boulevard to hate. Jake, I wanted to say about this movie. This is one of those ones I can't believe we didn't watch in high school. This seems like one of those ones that we would be on rotation because his character reminded me a lot of Steve-O from SLC Punk.
Oh yeah, like
obviously much deeper, but like
right. His buddy Fred there, it seems he made me think of SLC Punk a lot. Yeah.
The reason
it's strange that it was never even on my radar, this movie at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say the reason you guys didn't watch it is because people weren't telling you about it because it's fucking boring.
Yeah.
There are boobs in it, but there's not enough boobs in it to make it worth the rest of the fucking movie.
Yeah, they wouldn't rent it to us at Jumbo Video because
that's the other thing is like I don't really get who this is for, because it seems like the audience should be for teenage girls in the 80s, but then there's so many breasts in it that that this movie was probably restricted, so that demographic is not allowed to watch this movie. So it's like,
I guess it's a date movie, like you go on a date and there's something for everybody,
like the drive-in.
I guess so. Yeah,
it's really like the date culture in this film is pretty problematic. Like whenever there's at the Are we still on the beach here? Are we still talking about the beach?
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing else to say about the beach but the chest hair, right?
There's nothing to that scene except for them to see Nicolas Cage with no shirt on. It's the purpose of this entire scene. You don't learn anything else about the characters. There's no depth added to anybody. All you really learn, you learn a little bit about the main character because it shows that she is more concerned about a hot guy appearing. Like she's shallow enough that she'll see a guy with no shirt and be like, "Oh la la,
yeah."
She breaks up with Tommy during this segment, which I guess is.
Oh, really? At the beach?
Broke up with him at the mall.
Was that at the mall?
Yeah, it's like
I don't remember them breaking up.
Well, because they're already broken up. She's just reminding him that I broke up with you, remember? And he's like, "You'll be back. They always come back. Nobody dumps Tommy. Boys, pop my collar." And then they pop his for him.
Yeah.
So Michael Bowen, who plays Tommy, do you guys recognize him from stuff? Because I do.
I thought he was Will Forte.
That's what I said. The same thing. I was like, "Hey,
yeah,
yeah."
He's Uncle Jack from Breaking Bad.
Uncle Jack.
Uncle, a bunch of episodes of Breaking Bad.
It's a Jack attack.
I'm gonna fuck it. Yeah, he's like, it's his fault that Jesse gets put in the fucking underneath the.
Oh my god.
The mechanic
place.
place.
Bad, but I've seen him in other stuff. He's
in a bunch of other stuff too. He's in an episode of Gotham. He's in a bunch of things. He has a very different face 40 years later, 30 years later.
Well, it's different when it's not framed by perfect fucking Ellen DeGeneres hair, you know?
Yeah.
But he's still just playing a piece of shit in everything he does.
Yeah, exactly. I think he kind of got typecast and he's like, "I'm okay with that. I'm a piece of shit."
I would love that career. I would love it.
A lot of people are like, one of these days I'm going to get real fat, real bald, and I'll be just a character actor for the rest of my days, and it'll be fucking wonderful. And you know what? I respect it. I respect it.
Allegedly, according to my fun facts, which are fully generated by AI, Michael Bowen's portrayal of Tommy inspired future cocky jock characters in teen films like Karate Kid's Joey Lawrence, which I can see because this character reminded me a lot of Joey Lawrence. Steve,
I
hate
these AI fun facts because they're just obvious things. It's not a fact. It's just an opinion based on a robot.
But is this character the archetype?
This character came before this. It came after this. This character has existed since there's 10 of these characters in the Friday the 13th movies alone. This character exists in all fucking movies.
That's a good point.
They eventually realized we need to flesh this type of character out a little bit more to make them more interesting. This is just back when it was it was basically like a cardboard cutout that you throw in there just to have the person break up with them, and then he's always there as like the piece of meat that she could go over to if she really wanted to. Anyway, ChatGPT has clearly never seen movies.
That's true, but I do have a fun fact that is real. Nicolas Cage was 18 in this, and he beat out future stars like Sean Penn, Johnny Depp for the role of Randy. So imagine if Johnny Depp was in this. Imagine if Sean Penn was in this. I think the movie would not change in any way.
Johnny Depp
can't imagine. I can't possibly imagine.
Johnny Depp is too busy being in a good movie called A Nightmare on Elm Street, where he gets killed inside a water bed.
Yeah, and then a couple of years later, 2 seasons of 21 Jump Street,
and then eventually Captain Jack Sparrow and the Trial of Amber Heard, the best piece of media that's ever existed.
I'd like to see Nicolas Cage in the Trial of Amber Heard.
Yeah, imagine they picked him instead.
Yeah.
They should do like one of those Amazon Prime series or like an HBO series of the Trial of Amber Heard and just have Johnny Depp star in it and not Amber Heard.
But just dramatized.
Just get like Kristen Wiig or something to play Amber Heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like Ana de Armas, like just another starlet from that era.
Or Sweeney Todd or whatever her name is.
Yeah, my favorite actor, Sweeney Todd.
Sydney Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's sorry, I made myself laugh. It's Johnny Depp playing himself, and then Johnny Depp as Amber Heard as Sweeney Todd from the musical Sweeney Todd.
That's too many things in a row, I think. But I love it.
This is the case of Sweeney Todd. I took a dump on your bed.
Amica, cream. Okay, well, let's get to the party. We're introduced to these parents who are fucking 19. The dad looked familiar.
The dad at the
looked like
party?
somebody.
Was there
Yeah.
a dad at the party?
Yeah.
Yeah, my brain didn't.
You don't remember the dad at the party?
I think my brain is like,
sorry. I skipped ahead to the party because we meet the parents of Julie before she goes to the party. That dad, that couple.
Wait, I want to see if I can predict what you're going to say, because I feel like when I was watching it, I was talking to my partner while we were watching, and I was like, I know what Jason's going to say here. I know what he's going to say. So I'm going to say it. I'm going to say if I was right, I'll do a ding, ding, ding. If I was wrong, I'll do a fart noise. Go, Jason.
I was going to... He just looks familiar to me. That's all I was going to say.
Damn it.
And then, he's not the guy from Napoleon Dynamite, right? Oh, is that what you thought I was going to say?
Yes, I was going to say he's the inspiration for the uncle from Napoleon Dynamite is what I was going to say. Jason will say. And I was right.
Why would I say that?
You just said it, man.
I didn't say inspiration. I said he looked like him.
Okay, well, I was technically right in my own world.
What?
By my own metrics, I was right. I think that he is another one of those. He's in what the frick is he in?
It's from a bunch of stuff. He's in Apocalypse Now.
He kind of looks like that guy who's in a bunch of like Larry. You know the guy from The White Lotus who like falls in love with Coolidge for like an episode and then he ditches her. He looks kind of like that guy.
He looks like Sonny Bono to me.
That actor is the same actor from Napoleon Dynamite, the guy from White Lotus.
Oh, right. That's funny. Okay. So yeah, this guy is just one of those, like, he's kind of like a mush face is what I call them. The actors.
He's in a million things in the 80s.
He's in a million things, but he also looks like 20 other actors, so you can confuse them easily, like, especially when it's character actors. You're like, is that the guy from this? But it's like, no, that's not the same person, man.
I think you made a good point when we were talking about it earlier, Steve. These parents are just our age. That's why they look young to me. You know, she's probably supposed to be 16 or 17. They probably had her when they were 16 or 17, vis-a-vis.
So age
like
is appropriate. They're around 40. Yeah.
I was just caught off guard. I was just like, what the fuck was this choice?
I mean,
they have like no budget?
When we were watching it, we were also like, they look really young, right? But then I was also like, but I mean, some people who are almost 40 still look like they're in their 20s. They just dress appropriately and, act appropriately. And then there's some 23-year-olds who look like they've been through the fucking war and back.
Yeah, it's true.
I didn't know what the hell was going on at that party. I was like, who is this party for?
Yeah.
Like, are these kids or these adults? I couldn't tell what the hell was going on.
Let's talk about the insanity of this party. First and foremost.
The thing about it is, like, the style is so it's been spread around so much now, the 80s style, that like you can't really tell when somebody's wearing a specific, like, she's wearing a shirt that looks like it's an undershirt for a Victorian era like woman who's like, I've almost reached of age, I need to choose a suitor. Like and then like the mom who's there, I'm like, is she the mom or is she just wearing more makeup than the rest of her friends? Because, she still looks fairly young, the weird perverted sexual.
She looks just as young as everyone else, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
But she's the mom. She's supposed to be significantly older than them.
The redhead Beth, she's the stepmom. Yeah. She's like the dad's like new. Okay, they even there's a point where she's like, well, we're so similar in age that we're kind of competing against one another, and that's where the skip thing comes in. But that dad character just disappears after this party. But the things that were strange about this party were the fact that the parents were there serving colas while these 4 frat idiots are clearly getting wasted, like very clearly drinking from a bottle. And maybe it's that thing of like, you can drink as long as you drink at home with the parents, but it's a huge party. Like I understand that sentiment if it's like you go to your friend's house and your parents
rather than
know
drink
that
here than out in the street and vandalize things and smoke drugs and cracks.
But the most egregious thing I think I've ever seen put to film was peanut butter on sushi.
Yeah. I was going to say, let's not bring that up because it's just too disturbing. This is like the
Mhm.
most disturbing part of this movie.
Now,
It's because there's peanut sauce in certain Asian dishes, right? Like
Right.
it is a thing. And
it's like Thai food.
yes.
People were still kind of
not
freaked
sushi.
out about sushi in the 80s, though, right? Like,
Well, even in
like,
this movie, there's people freaked out about it. The
Yeah.
guy's like, like he's like gagging. And you're like, bro, relax.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
hilarious.
rice and fish.
yeah.
Which, when you look at people who grew up and were the age of these people in this movie, some of them still act that way. Some people are still like, oh, I could never try sushi. Too crazy for me. And you're just like, man, what do you eat though? You just eat mashed potatoes, French fries,
Yeah.
baked potatoes.
Life's too short to think about what these people eat. It's too late for
People
them.
who
Dinosaur
People
chicken
who are-
nuggets and mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
people who are like that are either like that, like so picky, or they're like 55 years old and they're like, I would never eat raw fish.
Well, that's what I mean.
I could never.
That's what I mean. The 55-year-old person would be the age of these kids in this movie.
Right.
But or they're they're like people who have undiagnosed sort of like sensory processing issues where they're just like, I can't deal with the texture. Like, okay, I can understand that.
That makes sense. I have a friend who, like, they're not super picky about food necessarily. They just have like, they can't handle certain textures, so they just
There's
when they go to a restaurant, they're just like, I want a club sandwich or chicken fingers. It's
there's
not
a certain name for it. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, there's like certain textures will cause people to gag and stuff, which is like that sucks because you're missing out on a lot of tasty food. But I get it. I understand that more than just being a closed-minded old fucking boomer who's like, "Brr, brr, brr. It smells like curry in here. It's like, don't you like curry? Yeah. So why do you fucking care then? True.
because I'm also racist.
Yeah, I forgot that I'm racist, didn't you?
That kimono that she's wearing was a little bit like, is that okay? No,
I
she's
mean,
young and hip.
It's 1983, so
Yeah, perfectly fine.
they didn't give a fuck.
She may as well have said something incredibly. I'm not going to do it, but an Asian accent.
Oh, come on,
The way that they
Jason,
were
do an
putting-
Asian accent for us.
The way they were putting peanut butter all over their sushi. I looked it up. It's not a thing. There's peanut like sushi, but not like.
That's what I'm saying.
Anyway.
Is like it seems like it's either a joke in the movie where there are certain peanut sauces that are used in different types of Asian food, and that's the joke, or they just didn't get it, like in the actual production. I'm assuming it's meant to be a joke, but like it's not really played as one.
Let me ask you both a question, and to that note,
Right?
is this a movie? Is this 1983's answer to a movie like American Pie? And if we go back and watch American Pie and had never seen it, would we have the same reaction? Or is one genuinely funny and one is genuinely not funny? Is this supposed to be that like teenage romp?
This question is predicated
Yes.
on the fact that I think American Pie is funny.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fair point. So you don't like American Pie. I liked it growing up. I think if I went back and watched it now,
The
I'd be
American
like,
Pie experience for me was very much me going to see a movie with a bunch of my straight friends and pretending to laugh at things that I didn't find particularly funny a lot of the time.
okay.
This is like it's not a boys movie about like we gotta lose our virginity before the school year ends or whatever, but you have to have some of that, I guess they think, right? Like it's got to be horny because Porky's was like a massive, like huge hit, right? And that was
Porky's was American Pie.
I
Yeah,
think
more
that
so.
Porky's
Yeah, that was
it
the
is
American Pie.
Yeah, this is like again, I think Jake, you're right. It's like this was meant to be more of like a date movie. It's not meant to be a zing a minute sort of like laugh out loud. Let's take these references and start quoting this movie in the schoolyard kind of thing. Like I don't think a lot of people were quoting this movie or even still are. Maybe the gag me with a spoon thing. I don't know. I don't hear that very often anymore. But
Yeah,
did this movie even create that, or was that a thing that was said before? I don't know.
I couldn't pull a single quote from this movie.
I cannot wait.
I can pull.
I cannot wait for the brain rot
Actually, I have one
movie
too. Yeah.
in a couple of years. That's the same plot as this, but everybody's like, YOLO, yeet, Riz, skibbity Riz, or whatever.
YOLO skeet riz, skibbity riz toilet skeet.
No, do more. I liked that.
Oh, YOLO skeet riz, skeet riz. Skibbity toilet.
Oh my god. I also thought
Skibbity
that
toilet movie being made or something. I feel like I heard this somehow.
it's actually probably going to be good.
It's actually probably going to be good.
I refuse to say more about why. This man's name is Skip. We're introduced to Skip. I looked up Skip. I thought he looked familiar. He's been in one thing, and it's this movie for a total screen time of what, 6 minutes?
Skip looks like a porn star of the era. That's what he looks like to me.
Not enough Skip. In this 6 minutes is not enough Skip.
If you guys have ever watched 1980s gay pornography, he looks like a 1980s gay pornographic man. That's what he just looks like.
No, I said, is this a 1980s gay porn film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I said too. And I was like,
Yeah.
get off over here.
Yeah.
Me and Beth, or whatever her name is. Is that the character's name? Beth?
Yeah.
The mom. Also, fun fact about Beth. I was like, who the fuck is this? Who is this? And then I looked her up and I was like, I don't know her from anything, but she's so fucking familiar looking. And then I remembered an episode of Red Letter Media where they did the Black Spine, the Black Spine episodes of Red Letter. Either of you guys familiar? No?
No.
So they've got a Black Spine, and it was an instructional video specifically for women about buying a gun and gun safety. And she was just like the person in that movie being like, should I buy a gun or shouldn't I buy a gun? I don't know what to do. And I'm like, that's what she's up. And it was
she never sees anything to completion in whatever she does. So she's always working on a problem. Yeah.
By the end, she's like, does it come in pink like a gun? And you're like, oh God. But it took me the whole fucking movie. I'm like, who is she? Who is she? Who is she? Who is she? Because she's very pretty. And I'm like, she must have been in other stuff, right? And then you look it up and you're like, oh, not really. Not anything that I know of. It turns out it's a gun safety video on a YouTube channel that is fairly popular.
Are you telling me that you saw her in the gun thing before Valley Girl?
Yes.
Wow.
That's what I recognize. I recognize her from a gun safety video on a comedy channel on this that reviews random instructional videos from this era.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. Her name's Lee Purcell. Let's see if I recognize her from anything. She was in
Lee Purcell.
Kids versus Monsters, the animated movie. Nope, she's not really. She was on Due South in the 90s for a few episodes. She was on an episode of Jake and the Fat Man. There you go. Uncredited work on Airplane 2. Anyway, let's move this fucking plot forward a little bit. I wrote a note about how ridiculous they danced in the early 80s. Tommy takes Lauren.
There she is.
Oh my
That's
God.
her, yeah.
I wasn't lying.
Cover the instructional video.
Honestly, this firearm video was more entertaining to me than Valley Girl. But yeah.
You're also listening to like common.
Not by much. Yeah.
What was the question, Jake? Yeah, so Tommy takes what's her face? Laura, I think her name's Lauren.
Yeah.
The only one with any real personality of all of her.
And real acting credits besides Nicolas Cage. Yeah.
Been in 280 things or 240 things, which is pretty crazy. She's voice acted in like every video game you've probably ever played.
I have
Tommy. She's Tommy Pickles from Rugrats. She was from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Dottie
plays Dottie.
She's kind of like one of my heroes, to be honest, in life.
Yeah, like, she's the coolest person in this movie for sure.
Yeah, somebody that I look up to legitimately.
Like as a voice actor kind of thing.
And just like her career trajectory is like really dope to me. I have no interest in being an on-camera actor, but I have a lot of interest in being a voice actor. And I'm like, do I have to show my dick in a weird rom-com for teens before I can break through to video games?
I think I don't know if you should do that.
I'll show my butthole. I'll keep my dick secret. Yeah.
Keep your dick secret. She reminds me of that other voice actor who was one of the Powerpuff Girls, and she's in like a million things and looks pretty much the same. I can't remember what's her name. Fucking.
I don't know, but I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember her name.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. You're right. Here comes Nic Cage. Are they supposed to be the outcast punk types? Yep. They all stare at them like they
Why
are.
are they matching clothes? Like, this is the weirdest part to me, is that they're wearing a uniform. It makes me kind of regret that I didn't have a uniform with some of my buddies when I was younger. I'm like, we should wear matching clothes, black and gold or something, you know? Show up.
We did that shit.
Yeah, hey,
We
do
were
you
the punks.
remember in high school where we were these guys?
Yeah, we used to show up at parties like this, but it was we would be confronted a lot quicker than these guys were confronted.
Oh,
We used to
wow.
crash parties. Yeah, it was the one thing that made me that felt punk to me was them showing up at the party. But yeah, we did that a lot.
I was also
Me and
always
Jake
invited to the party.
were
Maybe I'm the
basically-
fucking pop collar crew. I think I was part of the pop collar.
Yeah,
Me and
we'd have
Jake-
trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me and Jake specifically were these two characters where Jake was the Nic Cage and I was his friend, and he was always like, "I'm going after this girl. You get a friend," and I was like, "Okay."
Oh, so you're this short guy. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true.
it happened a couple of times. Let's be real.
Listen, these characters are not always like a cut and diamond sort of thing. It's like sometimes it's interchangeable, right? Maybe maybe a couple times Jason was Nic Cage. Maybe a couple times Jake was Nic
Never,
No,
never.
I was Nic Cage.
Yeah. Yep. I'm not afraid. I'll admit it. It's real. And then we joined up with a big group of punks, which was like when they go to Hollywood Boulevard with all their friends. And
I should
Right.
say,
they're all
in
underage at the club.
my defense, I was probably invited to the party in this scenario, and you guys are them. But I would not be one of the people who tried to fight you and throw you out. I would be one of the
Right.
people that would be like, "Hey, who are you guys? My name's Steve. Welcome to the party." And I would try to befriend you, because that was my game, was like meet new people and then have new friends at the end of the night. And it
Yeah.
always worked out well for me. Even when people that I had just met started getting the shit kicked out of them, I'd be like, "Whoa, I thought they were pretty cool. Why are we throwing them out?"
So you were like the what's the mom's name at the party?
Beth.
Beth?
You're like the Beth.
I'm like
The
that.
party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to
Me and
fuck
Jason are
everybody at
Skip.
the party.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
We're two skips.
There was
Okay.
sort of a paradigm shift though, where at first we'd like go to parties we like quote unquote weren't supposed to be at, but then like we became cooler. Our group collectively grew and became like cooler than the collective jocks, and then the jocks started to like want to hang out with us, and we all just kind of became one giant blob of a
Yeah,
group.
flip that
Because,
shit
it's
around
because
on.
real life isn't a movie, right? Like,
Exactly.
the people who go through life and like think that movies are reality are insane people. Like they have zero social skills. And like I know lots of them who went through all of high school and treated life like a movie, but they always made themselves the underdog. Like the people who got along were normal,
Yeah.
and they would just like
Just
they
the
would find each
full
other.
victim complex.
Yeah, it would be
Mm-hmm.
the people who didn't and that would put themselves into these sort of like cinematic scenarios were the ones that like were hard to get along with. And you'd invite them to stuff and they wouldn't come. And they'd be like,
Right.
"Nobody wants me there." And it's like, "No, I'm asking you to come. Like, would you like to come?"
Mhm.
And you know, every once in a while you'd break somebody out of it, and then you'd be able to bring a few more into it. But you know, it's crazy sometimes that people just they want to be in a situation where they think that they're
Yeah.
not welcome when it's not true, you know?
Well, if you're scared to go to the party, which it's a lot of people, you know, it's scary to do new stuff
For sure.
when,
Yeah.
when you're young. You don't want to get embarrassed, so that's a coping strategy. That's a strategy to go like, well, they don't want me anyway. I don't
Yeah.
like them. Like,
So
yeah,
I'm not gonna go. Yeah.
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 That martyrdom.
Those are the
I
people
mean,
who go crazy in college and get all.
I think yeah,
Yeah.
end up like drinking so hard so quickly.
Yeah.
I don't like, you know, like I look back, maybe this is one of the reasons that I dislike this genre of film so much, is that like I feel like the troubles that people are put on in teen movies I didn't necessarily have and I didn't connect with, and I wasn't really interested in chasing girls around, and I wasn't really interested in what is, you know, usually the template for this type of movie. So I have absolutely no interest in it, because I'm like, this is the dumbest shit. The dumbest people that existed in my life are the ones that are represented in these movies, and I really don't need to see an almost 2.5 hour long movie about the misadventures of these two fucking idiots. Like I'd rather
Wow,
follow
Jesus.
I'd rather follow Nicolas Cage's friend around for whatever the fuck he's up to and all of his like weird skeevy things that he's doing in the background than follow this girl. Like I don't care. I don't care about how torn up she is about these two guys because they both suck. One of them is
we'll get to it, but I thought
right. Sorry.
I thought Fred and Stacy were like more interesting because she's like, "Who don't come near me?" And he's like, and she's like,
Yeah, but
She has a roller coaster of character. Where
Yeah.
I'm like, who is
Yes.
this lady? Like she doesn't.
She's
know who
complaining the whole time, and then when he starts chasing her around the car, she's like, "Okay."
She's like, I
The
want to go home.
Yeah, the courtship like rituals that go on are all pretty screwed up. There's 2 times at the party. I don't want to keep harping on the nude, like the boobs in the movie, but 2 times that it happens at the party, both times it's like 2 couples like getting hot and heavy, and then the boobs come out, and then it's like, all right, get out of here. They start like the guys turn on them as soon as once.
I got what I wanted. I want to see boob.
Yeah.
Because that's as far as I know how to do.
I just wanted to make out with you, lady. What's wrong?
Yeah, it was all pretty like,
away.
yeah,
Goes away.
you guys are mean.
Yeah. Well, he's like, or they're just like, well, there goes the mystery. Now I'm bored.
Exactly, they get bored immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, we do get a bit of a meet cute with Nick Cage and Julie while Eyes of a Stranger by Paolus plays, and I love that song. I thought it was used perfectly for this sort of a thing. It's one of the bright spots in a movie like this where a song choice could really alter the scene. I don't know if you guys are a fan of that song, but I think it's a fantastic like resume to summertime.
It's a good Jason song. I'm not surprised to hear that you like it.
I think that's one of the. I think.
I was thought. Yeah. No.
I was gonna say I think that the song choice in this movie for most of it is pretty good, and I do like that there is sort of like a neat stitched kind of like beginning and end that they tie together with the soundtrack of the film. That's just like good storytelling, but I think that the content of the story is kind of lacking where I'm like, well, at least they're doing something here in terms of like, and then this song starts playing again. This is the first song that he heard when he saw her at the party, and now he's hearing it again later, and it's giving him courage to go and find her again. I'm like, yeah, that's fun, and I like that kind of shit.
What I think is lacking, like something that really, like, I don't know, lowers the. Okay, what doesn't work for me really is that he's supposed to be so radically different, right? And like, he represents a whole different lifestyle, and like, but the music is like the same. When they go to the punk club and it's like, oh shit, this is my fucking dangerous home away from home. The music is like pretty much no different from the music that everybody was enjoying at the party. Like all of the preppy conformist Valley Girl types listen to pretty much the same kind of music. There's like barely a difference. Like there's a Devo poster in that girl's bedroom. Like they're like, they're hip enough. It's not freaky. Like it's like it's not that different.
I guarantee you that they probably like in the conceptual stages of this movie were like, and they're gonna have like hard British like underground punk playing in this club.
Yeah, like some band that sounds like the Sex Pistols or like
taken to a Gigi Allen concert.
Yeah,
I mean they mention like Sid Vicious and stuff in this movie here and there, but like
they say punk stuff once in a while. Yeah,
but you never hear it. Yeah,
no,
and it's like I could also imagine like the punk bands of this era being like, no fucking way, mate. You're not getting my fucking movie and you're filming my music. We're not mixing peanut butter and chocolate over here, mate. Like
we're mixing peanut butter and sushi over here.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys too, do you think that this movie was sort of created more to sell a soundtrack than anything else? And it's the fantasy is sort of like Julie thinks she's converting this punk guy over to her side versus the other way, because when she's in that world she's like, this is ridiculous, this isn't even like fun, and he's like, this is all I know.
More
so
like
that's
more like a sound crack, butt crack.
But there's movies in the 90s that if you look at Empire Records, much better film obviously, but that movie was like part of the marketing was like, sell this great soundtrack. Or like Dazed and Confused, And again, another great movie, much better than this. But the part of it was like, let's sell multiple soundtracks.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, the end credits, like half the end credits is like songs. Like there's a huge
Yeah.
emphasis on it.
Well, look at the poster behind Steve there. It's just that list goes all the way down pretty much to the end of the poster.
Yeah, it's just kind of just like a romp through some early 80s culture. If you just look at it like that, like it's just a big long music video, it's like actually makes it a little more appealing.
A little bit better. That's what I was waiting for. I was like, this story is the most cookie cutter.
Yeah.
How come Julie looks nothing like that person in that poster?
That I'd like an answer to. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's a painted poster. So
yeah, but I mean, that's clearly Nic Cage.
Hold on, let me finish my fucking point over here. They probably painted this a year before they even started filming the movie, so it's possible that they based this on a look from another movie that she was in, because the hairstyle is nowhere near what her hairstyle is. The makeup that she's wearing in that is nothing like the makeup she's wearing in the movie. And these types of paintings take a long time, so they probably based it off of photography from something else.
Well, what I noticed is that
look at Nicolas Cage's chest hair; it's not shaped like a trillium.
And his hair isn't. He didn't have color in his hair like that. But she's also dressed like more like a hippie, like her parents.
They probably gave a description to the artist and said she's born of hippie parents and he is a punk who has dyed hair. And then when they went to go film it, Nicolas Cage was probably like, "No way, man! No one's touching my hair." And then they like dyed the friend's hair instead. So this is all probably just like an example of an artist giving information about the movie without actually having the movie being filmed yet, kind of thing. This happened all the time in movies. If you look at any Freddy Krueger poster, those like painted art posters,
they're all ridiculous. They have nothing to do.
Were painted before the movie even started. Like they didn't even have actors cast yet, so they're like, well, there's probably going to be a black guy, so paint the back of the head of a black guy. Like they would just like do that on the poster just to like be like, okay, well, done and done. And they would try and match things up afterwards. Anyway, does that answer your question?
That does. Thank you. Tommy is a piece of shit, as we see throughout this. He's going around being an asshole. Meanwhile, Fred is hitting on everything that has a pulse. I like that. I like his pickup line where he walks up to a girl and goes, "How's your mom?" And she's like,
"Dead." Yeah.
She's dead. Obviously, I don't know. You know what I mean? I thought that was what a weird pickup line. And then Tommy is like, "You guys got to go." And then fucking just cold cocks. Well, okay, he taps Randy on the shoulder and says, "You guys gotta go." He's like, "Why don't you make me?" And then he punches him in the face and they leave. Yeah, and then they bounce.
About Nicolas Cage is that he doesn't ever say anything clever. Like his character isn't like a clever, cool guy that she should be attracted to. She's only attracted to him because he's hot. Like there's literally no other reason for him to be attracted to her other than the fact that she saw his trillium chest hair and he's tall or whatever, right? Like there's no other reason. I can't think of one.
I think he's about as clever as I was in high school. Like,
yeah, that's true. I forget sometimes. I'm like, oh yeah, they're high school kids. They're not going to be clever. But like,
yeah, it's easy to forget that when they're all obviously like way older than high school. Well, he's 18, isn't he? Though, actually, in real life.
Yeah, in real life. Right. I guess when it comes down to it, out of the two of them, if I had to choose them based purely on physical appearance, I would probably pick Nicolas Cage in this movie versus the other guy as well.
The other guy looks like Beavis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would go on to be like just a crime lord and everything for some reason.
Yeah.
But I like that they leave and then they drive up to like that famous scene that's anytime that they're talking about the Hollywood Hills, it's that overlook. And he gets out of the car and he's like, "Ah! He's gonna go back." So they go back, and then he does.
There is a good part
from here on out. He just starts doing the creepiest shit ever. Sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
There's a good So these are the moments where I'm like, okay, at least something interesting is going on here. Like they're letting these characters go off. Like maybe this was written, maybe this wasn't. But like, there's a line where the guy's like, "What are you doing, man?" He's like, "Going back to the party." He's like, "No, man, that's my mom's car. She's gonna shit if she knows you're driving my car or her car." And then he goes, "I don't give a fuck what your mom thinks." Get the car, drive away. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a very accurate teenager conversation about driving a car. I like it. And I laughed.
I don't give a fuck what your mom thinks.
And he sneaks through the bathroom.
Through the bathroom window.
Oh, and then we get another montage of
Of him stalking like 7 people.
stalking. He's scared to leave the shower, but he's hiding in there like a creep for sure. All the while, who could it be now? It's playing, and like this is the funny part to me is that I'm like, there's been like 5 people that have come in and gone. Some of them are smoking joints, some of them are sucking each other's tits or whatever, and then like the song is the same the whole time. They play the song in its entirety, and I'm like, did all that happen in the course of that one song? That song is
In
like
maximum-
3.5 minutes long.
Maximum 4 minutes. I'm gonna look up Who Can It Be Now by Men at Work.
It's a
Who Can It Be
45-minute
Now?
song.
That
movie-
song
the movie wants you to
is
think
3
it's-
minutes and 22 seconds. So
I
good
said
guess.
3.5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said 3.5. I know my Men at Work. I almost said, you can dance. You can dance. That's a different men.
Remember that
That's men
hats.
who have no hats on.
Yeah.
Anyways, Land Down Under is their other song.
Right. But the movie wants you to believe that, this is like 45 minutes, but the one song is playing the entire time, which is fine. I'm not saying that everything needs to be accurate, but other times in this movie, the length of a song dictates the length of a scene. And it's crazy. I think that what they did is like the featuring by, I guarantee you they probably didn't pay these artists a lot, but the stipulation was, and you're going to play your song in its entirety. So like
That's the soundtrack thing.
Cater, yeah, but they would cater to that. So like this sequence, they're like, oh, it's not long enough. We need to add like, I don't know, 2 girls coming in and just talking about like witchcraft or some shit. And like 2 are like, so who did you curse today? They're like, oh fuck. I would love that kind of. Imagine like a modern day, like the 2 people go in the bathroom thing. I would like to see. They did make a remake of this movie.
It's funny you should say that, and I tried to find it because I wanted to have this insight. I wanted to be like, actually, what happens in the remake where you can't fucking you have to pay for it on only YouTube, and I refuse to pay more money for. Well, I paid $0 to watch
Apparently
this.
it's a musical as well. So.
Oh, son of a bitch! That sounds. Oh, god damn it! That sounds great.
I don't know if it's a musical in the sense that it's a like Broadway style where they actually have musical numbers, or if it's like they just play these songs and let the people in the movie sing them or whatever.
Because I think the movie from the poster, I didn't watch the trailer, but from the poster, it looks like it's also set in the 80s. So,
yeah, I know nothing of the remake, and I don't really care to. I was trying to find, because I watched the movie 2 days ago, and I couldn't. My brain was like, Steven, we're losing the battle of retaining the information of Valley Girl. And I was like, I could like see it. I'm like pulling all the levers, being like, no, hold on to those thoughts. But it really wasn't working out for me. So I was like, I need to find a couple reviews and watch them and see what other people's opinions are. And I couldn't find anything substantial. That like, it's all just people being like, so here's what happens in the movie. They're at a party. And then I'm like, I know what happened in the movie. Like, what is it? So anyway, it doesn't seem like.
I'm kind of liking this movie more in retrospect. Now that I'm thinking of it as just like a big long music video.
Yeah.
And in my memory, it's reduced down to about like 45 seconds. I like it a lot more this way.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot more fun talking to you guys about it than I did sitting and watching it. I think if the 3 of us had gotten together and watched this movie and cracked wise the whole time and then talked about it, it would add that much more to the enjoyment of the film. Like I said, I'm having a good time talking to you guys about it, which is more fun than I had watching it. I
didn't watch this alone, and I would have been a lot more negative about it probably. Yeah.
I didn't watch it alone either, and I had some good riffs while we were watching it.
Oh, we were riffing and scatting.
Yeah, I watched it alone.
Scatting everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm more agreeable to things though. I'm kind of a suck that way. I do like the suck. I do like. What the fuck was that?
That was just
a sucking sound
of the fart.
Oh yeah, I do like when the couple comes in and they make out for 4 seconds, and he just rips her shirt open, and then they're like, "Hey, get out of there! Come out here!" And they're like, "Okay, well, like that's that." And to your point earlier, there's
the riff
see the boot, see nipples, it's game over.
Yeah.
when we were watching this moment, we just like we came up with like scenarios of like what other type of people would come in and like what he would have to deal with, like somebody taking a wild shit, like coming in and just like like a Dumb and Dumber style.
If it was the 90s, we'd get a guy shitting for 4 straight minutes.
Yeah, you're right. If this was American Pie, there would be like a big long shit
And
scene.
he'd be like,
shit break, literally.
Yeah. You'd be Eugene Levy on the toilet. Yeah.
Just
nice.
Hold like the removable shower head down and like use it as a gas mask. Be like,
Yeah.
Oh man.
I noticed his attire and this like when he was climbing into the bathroom to begin with. I was like, I've never seen a punk in like brown slacks.
Also, almost like 90% of the women at this party were wearing like mechanics overalls or coveralls.
Yeah, that's true. That was the thing at the time. Big jumpsuits.
Which like 3 or 4 years ago was like a very gay man thing. Like if you would go to like a gay bar, like every man would be wearing that. I'm like,
that should be the gay man outfit through all like forever.
It's crazy. It went from the working man to the sexy lady to the extremely gay man who wants to get butt fucked. And you're like, okay, well,
yeah.
I guess that's the order of business.
I made an observation that young Nic Cage during this era kind of looked like Mad TV's Stewart. If his cheeks were a little rosier.
Oh yeah, when he got punched and he had that one rosy cheek.
Right.
In my mind's eye is showing me a
look what I can do.
And I don't disagree too strongly.
Yeah. I have a friend named Vince O'Neill, and he lives in Australia now, but he was one of my best friends forever. He still is. But I didn't realize how much he looks like Nicolas Cage until this movie. I was like, you are like the same guy. It's like he looks like Nicolas Cage of this movie and Brent Spiner a la Data. From Star Trek world mixed together.
My cousin, who's half Greek, has the same Nic Cage eyes.
My big fat half Greek wedding.
Here comes Julie finally into the bathroom. I don't know that this was the right way to go about all of this. That's kind of what I wrote down here.
Yeah. I wrote down, wouldn't it be funny if she took a dump? If she had the Dumb and Dumber style dump, and then he had to come out and be like, I swear to God, I didn't listen. I plugged my ears the whole time.
No, it'd be nice if it played out exactly as it did, but she's on the toilet.
Yeah, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
Nothing else is any different. Yeah, it's
he
just
gives her that awkward kiss.
She's like, "I'm in the middle of the."
You want to get out of here?
Number 2.
I don't care.
Number 2. Okay.
So we did talk about that.
Sits on a sink, like, just staring at her while she's taking a shit.
And then the credits roll, and then we're out of here.
Yeah, and then gets arrested.
So we did talk about that party for quite a while, but the thing is now she gets her best friend and they go driving, and we get what Jake was saying. We get literally a 5 to 7 minute montage of just things on Hollywood Boulevard.
It's the worst. It's the fucking worst shit. I was getting so like there's nothing more aggravating to me than a music video in a movie where it's just people driving to show nothing. All it's showing is like where they are, which we already know where they are. The one thing that I liked, they were driving. I'm not saying that. Sorry, I wasn't shushing you. I was just going. I fucking hated it.
Scrambled his brains up.
Yeah.
I
thought you were telling. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
I like that they were showing movie theaters, and I was like, oh, look at all the movies that were playing during the filming of this. Like you saw, like Empire Strikes Back, and like a Scholar and a Gentleman, or whatever the fuck it's called. And you're going past. I'm like, okay, it's showing the era, which is nice. And then he's just waving to people, and they're being like, "Yeah, what?" And he's like, "No," it's just to show that he's like a man of the people, I guess.
He's the most popular guy in Hollywood. Yeah,
everybody knows him, so therefore he must be the better option than the dickhead up the lane who just tried to like suck your friend's tits or whatever. And it's like, whatever. What are we getting to? Yeah, and then he kept saying, "I love this song."
It's like, remember this movie?
Have you ever seen Empire Strikes Back? You know what happens at the end?
Yeah,
like cuts off before he reveals it.
Yeah.
But This is another example of we paid for the song that's going to be in its entirety, so we need to have a montage of them driving through the streets until they get to a place where these two girls would never go on their own, ever. They've never been here. They're going to pat you down before you go in there because you might have a freaking shiv on you.
I feel like that we couldn't hear it audibly, but I feel like the guy said, "You got any drugs in that bag?" And she's like, "No, of course not." And he's like, "Why not?" I don't think that's.
I had
think
subtitles on. It did not say that, but that's a good line, Jason. You should have wrote for Valley Girl.
I wrote this movie. They just didn't use my script, and also I wasn't born for 3 years.
I'm writing a script right now called Valley Ghoul, and it takes place in the Fallout 76 universe.
Perfect. See, that sounds awesome. I really keep thinking about what we talked about at the very start of the show, where by now in a Freddy Krueger in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, Freddy Krueger has already killed like everybody at that party, and now he's stalking who's left.
Yeah.
This really is, isn't it? It's a slasher with no Freddy Krueger, really.
Slashing,
Like, yeah. You could just shoehorn some slashing in here, and it totally works.
All that needed to happen was Nick Cage and his buddy, when they leave the party, they run over a fisherman, and then they're like, "Oh shit, we got to go back to the party," and then they leave, and then the fisherman just hunts them for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
That would've been good.
I like it if Skip was the killer.
Yeah.
Skip, good reveal of Skip being the killer. He does have murderer vibes. Yeah.
He does do a lot of sneaking and prowling around. Yeah.
I'm
He
here to
dons the
return
Jason
a
mask.
book. Ding.
Yeah.
What's your favorite scary novel? This is before people watch movies just regularly.
Skip.
So this was supposed to be like the Viper Room, right? That's the vibe that I got.
What does the Viper Room look like?
Well, it's the famous like alt punk bar where River Phoenix died.
I know what it is. I just don't know what it
Oh.
looked like inside. Like, is this what it was supposed to look like?
I think this was a reference to that. I think.
Okay. To me, this looked like. Well, was he dead yet? Was the Viper Room like a
No,
at this point?
no. River Phoenix like hasn't even started working yet at this
Yeah,
point.
maybe the Viper Room didn't exist. Maybe that's free Viper Room.
That's possible.
To me, it just looked like a dive. Like, it's just a dive bar, right? Like, I've been to so many. There's so many where I live. Like, this used to be the hole of holes. You know, like you would go to the Holy of Holies just to like go into a place like this. They're slowly disappearing around here, but like.
Well, when Halifax had a lot like this, Reflections looked like this, you know.
But like, you know, like the beaver and stuff. Like the one thing about this, where I was looking at this, I was like, man, you know, it'd be better than these guys singing about miles and miles and miles. I'm like, just a drag queen, like fist fucking a pinata or something. Like, that's what I would like to see.
If it's like if Divine was literally in this movie.
Yeah.
I would have liked it a lot more if this was a drag thing. And he's like,
they would have had some reason to be uncomfortable.
Yeah. Because
If
they're
this
just
movie was-
watching a performance and nothing crazy. Like, there's one part where a guy bumps him and like you hear the sound of a glass break, but that's the craziest thing that happens.
When he throws the wine bottle later, it doesn't break right away, but it sounds like an explosion of glass. Yeah, so he's like, you're like her and the rest of her friends programmed. And I wrote a note that we knew people like this in the early 2000s and late 90s, where just those punk
crazy
dudes.
irony, though, is that like these kind of dudes are now a template as well. Like, they're programmed. There are people who see this and they adopt it in the same way that she adopts a Valley Girl persona. This persona that he is adopted almost even more heavily now than a Valley Girl.
Me and
Valley
Jake
Girl is on its way out. This kind of shit is like the norm now.
We absolutely. When me and Jake were in high school, we were like the pretty
You guys
like
went to high
moderate.
school? Me too.
Hey, no, but I mean, like, because we were in this like punk group of people. We'd occasionally the older brothers and sisters of us had friends who were the most fucking insufferable, like, I'm so punk type people that like are still like that, and it makes me crazy to see people acting like they're 17 years old
Yeah, the elder
As-
punks. Like,
Yeah, the elder punks who are now
you're
like
right.
we're 40 and they're like 46
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
still like
they're all like 2 years older than us.
yeah.
But they're, like, for real. You're right. I just last time I was home for Christmas, I ran into Liam, and he was still big timing me, like you owe your whole punk like life to me.
You're like, bro, I changed my fucking gimmick 3 times in the last 20 years, bro.
Yeah, he still has the same gimmick. He's like, yeah. All right.
Rockabilly.
It's crazy to have a gimmick and not give it up, or at least it not like change it in some way, like or adapt it or evolve it. Or
I was pretty committed to being a punk in high school. I remember, our friend Dave Hubert, the writer, the great writer. He and I were like fully punked up. He was like, he had like I think he had a triple mohawk at the time, different colors.
He had a triple or a double.
We were hanging out, the two of us, on a fire escape at our old, who gives a shit, on a fire escape, smoking a joint, and he's like, I'm not going to be a punk forever, obviously. He's like, obviously we're not going to wear leather jackets and have mohawks forever. At some point I'll grow out of this. And I was like, no way, man. I was like,
fuck.
How could you say that?
What are you going to trade it in for a lab coat? You sick fuck.
That was my honest reaction. I guess I still wear a leather jacket, but like, I was like, huh. He knows, he's aware that this is temporary.
Yeah, I was always 1 foot in too, and I've got a lot of philosophy that still lines up with that. Like I'm pretty anti-capitalist. I fucking hate millionaire. Like I hate the rich, right? Whatever. But that's like pretty easy to do while I still am
anymore. That's just like being.
No, I'm very situated in what's left of the middle class. Very, very comfortable. You know what I mean? Like to not have have that foresight.
I'm radicalized, guys. I've been asking Chat GTP, how do I accidentally make a bomb? No,
you know what's annoying in this movie is Nicolas Cage is like, they go to this club and he's like, fucking yeah, this is where I hang out. Like, I'm not a conformist. I'm not a tool like you. I'm not an idiot. You know what I mean? He's like, you guys, you don't know anything. He's just so condescending, and she's like,
she loves it. She
stars
loves
in her
it.
eyes. Yeah.
You're a fucking idiot. Which made me be like, he's an idiot because he's a child, right? This is the other thing about teen drama to me is like when somebody who is a teenager is like giving words of wisdom to another teenager, when there's no evidence that this guy has had some kind of tough life where he's learned a hard lesson. It's just him being like, I know how to express myself. I look at the world differently than you. It's like, well, why?
Yeah.
No need to get into that. Just because.
Yeah. Because I part my hair this way and I shave my chest into a little bikini T-bone shape.
I was really hoping
until you've shaved your chest into the shape of a trillium, the national flower of Ontario, a province,
Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, you wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't understand
that they're in the valley.
Yeah. I was really hoping that we would see his group of friends. In fact, I made a note about that as like a prediction. And when they roll in there and they go into this club, I was like, yes, finally, we're going to see like why he's like that. Mm-hmm. We don't. It's just him and Fred seemingly. And then they have all these friends we never meet. So you just have to infer that he was just forged this way by the streets or something. But you're right, Steve. He's literally just like a 16-year-old boy who is allowed to drink all the time because he has no.
He's driving around and he's waving to people and they all recognize him, and they're doing funny stuff and yelling things back to him or whatever. And I was talking when we were watching it. I'm like, because they make a point to show that he's friends with everyone. Like they show like a group of black people going by,
black people, and
they all seem very like close with him, and he's like, you better do that. I'm gonna make sure you do that later. Okay, bye. And he drives by, and I'm like, wouldn't it be funny?
And he just goes,
he drives by like every type of like crazy stereotype. Like he goes by like a Chinese restaurant and like everybody knows him. Like he goes by a Mexican restaurant and everybody knows him.
There's some nuns, some cowboys, astronauts.
A bunch of little people, and he's like, hey guys, let's go. They're like, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
that's where like the Naked Gun aspect kind of was like taking over in my mind, because like the movie is so kind of boring that like that kind of stuff would make it more interesting and fun. You know, it's like we need the serial killer, or we need the Naked Gun aspect of it just being too crazy, because it just everything feels mild and like it hasn't quite reached the boiling point of like making it
good. It like doesn't do anything. Nothing really happens.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that he's driving around and everybody notices him, that means like everybody in Hollywood is just standing on the street, like watching the cars go by, waiting for someone they recognize.
Yeah, they need to. Yeah. What else do you do on a Saturday night or whatever? You know,
maybe that's what they do.
You're either at a house party eating peanut butter sushi, or you're waiting for Nicolas Cage to drop by to like wave at him for 2 seconds.
They didn't have social media. That was social media in the 80s, just standing on the road,
literally
waiting to see somebody.
What do you guys want to do tonight? Let's go down to the corner of 3rd and 4th and just wave. Let's wave at people.
Mm-hmm.
That was sending a tweet back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just yelling in so many characters. That was a tweet.
That's why it's only 140 characters, because that's as many.
Yeah.
That's actually
you'd be lucky
pretty fucking funny.
You need a red light to be able to get a full 180, you know? Like
yeah.
So they stay out and talk all night. Essentially, they get their Coca-Colas, which I thought was funny. Later, you clearly see him slamming beers in this bar, but here I guess they're just drinking colas. We cut to to Julie's parents, who are like trying to be worried about their kid. They were never really
also where were they all night? Just at Makeout Point or whatever. Like
they go up to Makeout Point, yeah, and which that Makeout Point is in everything that takes place in Los Angeles, I think.
Yeah, it's like the Makeout Point of the world. Yeah.
There's an episode of Blossom there's several episodes of Blossom that has that.
There was no like Makeout Points wherever I lived when I was younger.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Makeout parking lots and like Makeout drive into like an alley or whatever. But there was no Makeout Point.
Mm-hmm.
Skinny dipping at like lakes in Nova Scotia was
kind of an overlook
around lakes. I guess I didn't have a lake nearby that I could go skinny dip
at. Halifax Dartmouth has some statistic like most lakes per capita in some.
Yeah, Dartmouth is like lake city.
Both of them are man-made, and both of them you required access to get into the park between the hours of like 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. You couldn't stay in there unless you hid inside the park.
Well, yeah, unless you're a punk, then you just go whenever you want.
Just go wherever.
That's the thing. You gotta be a punk.
I think Makeout Point for us was the Commons. You know.
I wonder if I mean, you know what? I did work for one of those parks for a long time, and I had a key to one of the gates. I could have gone to a Makeout Point so many times. Now that I think about it, I could have been a real punk. What the fuck? I wasted my opportunity, guys. I could have been a punk like you guys, but I would have been an inside punk.
That's the best kind of punk to be. Yeah, an inside punk. That's like having your punk cake and eating it too.
It's like you're wearing a lab coat and you rip the lab coat off and there's a leather jacket underneath. You're like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I like how for you, Steve, it's leather coat or lab coat. There's no in between.
Leather lab coat.
They're kind of the opposites, right? Like those are the two extremes, I think, in my mind, is a leather coat and a lab coat.
Imagine you went into the emergency room for surgery. The guy comes in a leather lab coat.
Oh God! It sounds like some like Castle Wolfenstein shit.
Yeah, everything else is normal, but his coat is leather.
Everyone, calm down. Stop talking now.
That's how SS Nazis dressed. Oh my gosh.
That was the joke I was making. Come on.
Well, I helped you.
You didn't have to spell it out.
Spelt. You made a video game reference.
It's true. Also, the doctor's wearing a gas mask. It's like,
yes.
Okay, we're going to do surgery now.
We're going to breed it out of you. Fred and Stacy are cute. He's literally chasing her and she thinks it's cute-ish. I liked that. We talked about that already. He takes her home. Did you guys notice that it's now the morning, like daytime?
Yeah, that's what I said. Are they there all night? Like, are they just up there making out all night? Because they didn't fuck. I mean, or did they? Who knows?
No.
No, wait. She says
No.
later they never fucked, right? She
Yeah,
says
she
That's
got
right.
her tits out. She got her tits out, and the second she did, he was like, "Okay, we gotta go."
Yeah.
He was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, please, get us out of here."
Why? So this is another attempt at comedy. When she walks into her house, the mom is doing some sort of,
Like,
she's upside down
Oh,
doing
yeah.
yoga, and she's got like, but she still has like full
This is the thing is like
pantyhose on.
when we first meet the parents, I didn't really understand that they were supposed to be funny. And then this
Right.
scene, I was like, oh, they're funny. I get it. They're supposed to be funny parents. I think my brain is just so used to like visual things being like, isn't it crazy that he's wearing a weird jersey? And he's like, hey, okay, well, be back by, because they were kind of being strict or whatever, but they're being lax. And I think that was meant to be funny as well. Whereas this is like now doubling down and you're like, they're comedy tropes. Like, okay, I see now. But I didn't get that the first time. I don't know how you guys felt, but they didn't feel like comedic characters until this moment.
This moment here,
Yes.
this is when he realized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get that? Did you Google upside down mom?
I took some screenshots
Okay.
of some of my favorite moments from the film.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
You know when
Oh,
Oh,
we'll
goodness.
get rid of that now.
Oh,
Strange film, huh?
this man came prepared. I thought there was gonna be no content out of this movie.
me too.
That's my last. That's the last one I have.
So, yeah, they don't get her in trouble, which
No.
because I didn't understand that they were so lax.
Well, they try to scold her. They try to scold her a little.
Because I didn't know that they were so lax in the first time we met them, or that they're supposed to be comedic characters. I was kind of like nervous. I was like, oh man, she's gonna get in so much fucking trouble. If I went home the next morning after not telling my parents where I was going in some capacity, even back then, you can find a payphone and you can make a call or whatever, right? Even if it's a collect call, you can be like, I'm staying at Andrew's house. like instead of saying your name, you just yell whatever's happening and then they'll get the picture. I was nervous, and then at this point I'm like, oh, they're Muppets. They're like cartoon character parents. They're not real. They're supposed to be like the parents from Meet the Fockers, like Dustin
Well,
Hoffman.
Stacy does say like, we got to get home, and your parents are gonna flip out. And she's like, my parents are cool. So there was at least.
I know, but like my parents are cool too. But if I don't tell them where I'm gonna be all night and show up at 7 a.m. the next day and say, I need to go to bed, I've been awake all night, they're gonna be like, what have you been doing? Fucking? You've been fucking all night, you sick fuck.
Me and Jason were latchkey kids, kind of like we could get away with shit.
Yeah.
We come home at early in the morning as a cry for help, and nobody would notice.
Oh,
I would, and then my mom would be like, where were you all night? And I'd lie anyway.
Oh yeah, you just lie too, by the way. Yeah.
Just lie.
Yeah.
Lie.
my parents,
Just-
I could
good enough.
all I had to do was tell them what was going on, and then they would be okay with it. As long as I didn't like hide it or whatever, like as long as I gave them a call and told them I'm alive and I'm gonna go do this,
Mhm.
they'd be like, okay, we're gonna go to bed.
One-
And then they would feel
One time my mom accused me of being high. So my lie was that I had a few drinks of a drink earlier as the lie. And she was like, that's not better. What are you talking about?
It's
So-
true. Yeah, that is it. I think because when we were kids, like drinking seemed okay because our parents were
Yeah.
allowed to drink. Whereas now it's like, I think most people would prefer you to smoke weed than be drunk, because when you're high, you're just going to sit there and be like, do you guys think that aliens are real? Or whereas when you're drunk, you're like, I'm going to go dry hump that snowman.
I'm going to find an alien and fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's their great night. The next scene's pretty stupid. It's just the scene with the first. I don't know if she went to school like a few hours later, or if this is after the weekend. But we get a weird attempt at comedy again, where it's driver's ed, and she keeps fully looking behind her to talk to her friends.
This is one of the only
fucking
moments
hilarious.
where comedy worked for me. I was like, you know what? They did a funny thing, and I liked it. And it's the moment is when he jumps out of the car. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, God, this guy's so scared he jumped out.
Yeah, but up until that point, I was like, this is a really like weirdly clunky because we've all seen the nervous driver instructor bit before, but when he just suddenly disappeared from the car, I was like, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Like that this scene was straight out of some other movie or a bunch of movies that I've seen before. It was so weirdly like tropey.
It felt improvised too.
I do also like that he kept asking everyone to stop talking. He's like, everyone just stop talking. Everyone has to stop talking. Like he's more concerned about the talking than the shitty driving.
That guy was good. Do we have any information about that guy, the driving instructor?
We should though, shouldn't we? Imagine he
I'll tell
only
you who
played
he
driving
is.
instructors in every movie he's ever been. I would.
Yeah.
His name is Richard Sanders,
Okay.
and he
He's an
was-
in real life driving instructor, and he's still doing it to this day. He's
still with
99
us?
years old.
oh he played no, but he played Les Nessman on WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh, Les Nessman, of course.
That's the like the nerd guy from that show. I don't know if you guys watched that growing up. Really,
I watched it when I was little. Yeah, I remember Les. I don't remember. I
remember the
remember him.
name. Yeah,
I remember
the
as a
name
kid
Les
saying,
Nessman.
you know what? I don't say less men. I say more less men. Give me more of that, man.
Yeah,
Did
I remember him.
anyone-
I remember the nerdy guy. Yeah. Well, we lost him, huh?
He he stopped working in 2006. He passed away.
He ironically died in a car accident.
See what he passed.
The car off. Just humorous.
Assuming, let's do some math here. He was probably 36 in this movie because people looked older. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, good point.
He probably died in like 2008. That's my guess without looking it up, and I refuse to look it up. So who cares? Skip is going to bone this mom. Okay. So this is the scene. We speculated early in the episode what was going on here. My interpretation is that he went over there to do the drop off thing because it's like his teen job, and then she says something.
Before this, did anybody catch that she was hitting on him at the party? Because I didn't really.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you saw that, like because her daughter Susie was like, "Look, there's Skip," and she was like, "Yeah."
I didn't know she did it like an ooga.
She did an ooga, yeah.
Okay.
But
he's a tall man who looks 40.
This was the weirdest part. Like this
Here's
scene between them, it was the longest. Every line had about like 30 seconds of space in between it. Like they were trying to build some sexual tension or something, but it was like
it was successful. It felt again like at the
Really?
beginning of a porno. I mean,
My interpretation
when
of
I-
what happened.
When I say successful,
here.
I mean I was like, they want to fuck. Like this is what's
right. I guess they did communicate that.
Yeah.
My interpretation of what happens here is that he had like all he had when she's like she says that thing that's like, the moment can come and go or whatever.
No, here's what she says. Can I tell you this because of the one quote that I remember from this movie? She goes, "I have a tip, Skip. Plastics. The time to act is the now I forget."
No,
time to act.
I
Anyway,
was like, this is it. This is true.
The right
I
time to
think he
do
was-
something is the right time or some shit.
I think he was supposed to kiss her right then and there in that exact moment
Okay.
because of this weird tension.
What was
And
the
then he
plastics?
didn't.
Where did
I
plastic
don't
come
know.
into it?
I think it's because he's.
I thought
using paper
condom?
bags.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, condom.
Oh,
So when she said, "I have a tip, Skip," did she mean the reservoir tip of a condom, of a plastic condom?
Maybe.
Could be.
I thought that because like I feel like this is around when plastic bags and paper bags were going through like a war in like, do you use a paper or plastic? That was like
The paper plastic wars of '83. Yes,
of 83, yeah. And because he was using paper bags to deliver, she was like, plastics, but she was using it as a euphemism
back.
for a condom. So it was like,
Okay.
she was talking about condoms, but she was also talking about it in reference to the paper versus plastic war of 1983 that we're all very familiar with. It's still
That's
going
the
on
thing
to
about this
day.
movie. This movie is crazy making because it makes us analyze.
Too
like
much.
you can't help but overthink it.
Because you're not thinking about anything else because nothing else really fucking matters, including
Yeah.
this subplot to the movie. It has nothing to do with any other character. These characters are completely separate. Like after this point,
we don't know these characters at all. Like we don't know them. I don't know.
And
I don't know nothing about
interact
Susie and
with anybody. They're not even. There's no cross contamination of storyline. This is just a whole other separate storyline happening.
Yes.
In the movie.
Yeah.
If they cut this movie, it could have been an hour and 45 minutes.
They could have cut a lot out of this movie. Yeah.
We're working with a 2.5 hour movie here. And
no. It's an hour and 39 minutes, Steve.
This movie is 3 hours long. Peter Jackson was like, I wanted to beat Valley Girl when he was talking about Return of the King.
There's definitely 9 minutes. They could have cut 9 minutes easy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, cut it down to 87 minutes by getting rid of this weird B plot that doesn't go anywhere.
It ends up to do with anything. It really
it just resolves with him banging his own girlfriend.
Yeah. He just has sex with his own girlfriend, and then we're all like,
and then he brings the cups to the prom, and they're like,
finally,
all right.
Skip, what were you doing? And he's like, yeah, mom. Nah, just kidding. Her mom. Or was I doing her? No one knows. Yeah. And he's like,
I think we were supposed to become more attached to Skip than we did. Like, I think without doing any of the work, we were supposed to really wonder about Skip and hope,
a lot of people
works
did
out.
because a lot of pornography nowadays is like Skip porn. It's just like,
Skip porn,
story. The Skip tale.
You just
right.
skip to the.
He was probably a sexual awakening for a lot of gay kids in the 80s, like David Bowie and Labyrinth was for so many girls at the time. Skip
and gay boys too.
Yeah,
that's what I'm.
I know. The outline of David Bowie's dick from that movie.
I only ever hear women talking about that. Yeah. Okay, that shouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
This guy never worked again. He did this movie. That's the only thing in his IMDb. He never did a commercial. He never did a fucking music video. He was just like, I'm gonna be Skip in this movie. Is this like the shit break character? Like what other movie has?
You have to go to the IMDb OP.
What's that?
The Internet Movie Database of porn, and he's all over that. He's all over it. He's going to be in Valley Ghoul. I've contacted people.
You found him for Valley Ghoul.
I want to see a documentary.
Yeah. Skip the Dishes is the documentary. He's the guy that brings the food on Skip the Dishes. He's the guy that brings the food on Skip the Dishes. So we get the scene with the diner. If it turns out that these idiot hippies have a diner style restaurant that's like vegan food would be the equivalent to now. It's like health food, and it's just like a lot of sprouts and stuff. There's some comedy. I don't know if there's anything worth mentioning about this sequence.
No.
No.
Other than like Randy shows up.
They meet Nicolas Cage. Is the only important part is that they meet him.
And there's a guy sitting there at the counter who just keeps interrupting with total non sequiturs. Yeah, like it's like background talk, but they keep cutting to the guy. He's like, you should come to
be like a goofy, funny. Like people are supposed to be like,
he's a funny regular. Yeah. He keeps talking to the dad, but like, he doesn't say anything funny or like.
This scene was the moment where I go, is this like supposed to be an irreverent comedy of its era? Like, is this supposed to be like an American Pie, like the big comedy of the summer or whatever? Because this,
you know what made the scene way better is if somebody fucked a pie right in the middle of the scene.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Would have been great.
Stifler comes in, like, I'm gonna fuck your mom. Whoa, is Skip Stifler?
Skipler, yeah.
When I cast him in Valley Ghoul, I was like, do you want to be a character called Skipler? And he's like, yes. So
Sean William Scott is my hero.
Yeah. Also, Sean William Scott's going to be in it too. He's the ghoul. He's the Valley Ghoul.
Perfect. This movie rules. Let's watch that movie instead of
ghouls.
The ghouls. Blah. They leave. Hippie parents are hippies. So we talked about that last little bit for a long time. Another 7 minutes of just date sequence. That's all I have to say.
The dating montage. Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
They date.
We paid for the whole song, so we got to do it. And it's almost like the same 3 dates over and over. Like, I guess they probably.
It's like a couple of dates. Yeah.
It's chop it up or whatever.
There is one.
It's a lot.
Yeah, please. Yeah. They kind of seem to have a bad
they're like-
attitude
they're
on
like,
some of these dates.
Like the pie thing, where they're like
So
they're
annoying.
eating pie, and he's like, "I refuse to eat this pie." And she's like,
Yeah, like-
"It's not the pie."
Yeah, it's like normally a date sequence, they're like laughing and looking lovingly. But some of these dates, yeah, he's like she's talking, he's like,
I don't eat sushi unless there's peanut butter on
you
it.
guys are dicks in this
You
movie.
fucking stupid.
I saw your boobs already. I don't need to talk to you anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the less said about the date.
I don't want to see your boobs until our wedding day.
I wrote, I think this sequence is effective for something like this, but it was pretty predictable and whatever. So kind of
I
like,
think I started doing dishes during this sequence. I was like, oh, I have time to do some dishes here.
no, I was like, oh, I can look at my phone for like 2 minutes really quickly.
Mhm.
Get me out of this. I need to look at something else.
I think I was just
Yeah.
whimpering in pain.
Also, did you guys notice that when Nic Cage kisses her all through this movie, it looks like he's like struggling to swim or something? Like he's got such a weird face on when he's trying to kiss.
Yeah.
You know, it would
I
have been
don't-
great if he took his face off. No, just-
I was waiting for him to go like this. I guess you can't see my hand. Yeah. Yeah.
I think a lot of the kissing in this movie was not great, but
Yeah. That's pretty
Yeah.
grossed up.
it wasn't gross. It was just bad. Like it was like a lot of people didn't understand how to kiss, or it was like they
Yeah.
don't know how to kiss. They're not kissing
Yeah.
right.
I mean, he's like the most age appropriate at 18, so he probably like literally doesn't know how to kiss.
Yeah.
Also, the thing that I noticed about this sequence is Tommy does see them. They just show him like see them for like a minute while they're having the
Oh yeah, right.
lemon meringue pie moment.
But he would actually he's pretty mature about it, honestly. Like for like the evil jock in a teen movie. He just
Right.
sees
He's like,
them.
oh, okay.
He's like, that bothers me, but she made her choice. Like it's so it's weird how they like all the guys in the movie treat the girls like idiots and like treat them kind of bad. But then also he does respect her choice. He's like, well, that's her new
Doesn't
boyfriend.
treat them as bad as like they would now if you were to have the portrayal of like what
Yeah.
like
Any other
a,
movie, I'd expect them to run up and like grab her arm and
yeah,
have
We're
have a
getting
fight,
out of
yeah.
here.
and then them have to
Yeah.
fight again.
Yeah, we don't
Like
get that.
punching everybody, just punching.
That's again like to the point of like nothing really happens. Like
Yeah, and he doesn't other than punching him at the party, like there's nothing about Tommy that is explicitly bad except for the moment where he gaslights the other girl into being like basically like blackmailing her into like, if you say anything about this, I'm going to tell her that you're a shitty friend.
he just kind of has like a bad. He's like a bad. He's not a
He's a
cool
bad-
guy.
Yeah,
Which is a
Nobody.
dickhead.
You don't like the cut of his jib,
but
but
it's
it's not
also
like he,
it's also kind of realistic. Like you would think that if you
Yeah.
know a dickhead guy who just got broken up with made out with one of his girlfriends,
yeah.
he would probably try and blackmail and maybe to whatever varying degree of success, but he doesn't really do anything that's like absolutely vile.
Is
which
this
what
just
I
like
was
a
waiting
super realistic movie that we just don't relate to because it's from a long time ago?
It's too realistic. Or
yeah,
like, wait a minute. Everyone's
It was
normal
45 years ago, so it's like it was too real.
It's
for-
kind of like it feels like watching Degrassi Junior High, but with
yeah.
yeah.
There's
boobs and
nipples
stuff,
every
yeah.
once in a
There's
while,
nipples,
and you're
yeah.
like, maybe
Yeah.
they should have got rid of the nipples and just made this like a all excess level of. But you know
that
what?
seems to be what's confusing us is the fact that there's nudity.
I think that there's.
Yeah.
I think this was pre PG-13 as well, so
Mm-hmm.
there was no point to remove them because even if they remove the nipples, there's too much other stuff that would have still made it fall under that umbrella of R. So they're like, we might as well throw some nips.
I
in.
think it might be PG because there's one fuck in it. I'm pretty sure.
No, there's multiple fucks now.
Is
that I
there?
think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, right. When she breaks up with him, he's like, fuck you. He goes, fuck you. And then he goes, no, yeah, fuck off. Totally. For sure.
Oh yeah, when he keeps
the-
yelling "fuck off."
So there's
fuck
two or
off.
three fucks there.
You're right.
But
Yeah,
if the-
you're right.
fall under the era of no PG-13, then that's why they're like, well, who cares? Nipples all the way because we're gonna get R anyway. So let's just have the
Right.
fucks.
So
It
nipples
would be a
and
shame. It would be a
nipples
sin
possible.
not to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still
was-
look at the rating system as wild in this era where I'm like, what do you mean? It's like you're either able to watch something with your parents or you're not, and there's no in between. And like, it's crazy to think about because like Canada when we were growing up has like 3 other things in between R and PG-13,
PG-13, 14A,
18A, and then
18A.
and then there's another one, and then there's R, and R is like the one that's like crazy hard to get into, but like you have so many opportunities to break the bank. Also, like I can't imagine a movie theater because most people who work at movie theaters are also teenagers because they're like they see like a 14-year-old and they're like, I don't know, I don't give a fuck if this person sees Kill Bill Volume 2. I say that movie because I could not get into Kill Bill Volume 1. It was like the worst experience of my life. It was the only R-rated movie I've ever run into in my entire life.
Actually, Volume 2, I got into Volume 1 because I'm old enough. I was old enough, but Volume 2, I got caught smoking a joint in the parking lot, and
that's your problem.
And then I got banned from that theater, so I had to wait.
Well, Volume 1 was rated R.
Park Lane, yeah.
Volume 1 was rated R in Canada, which is like I'd never even seen that before because rated R in Canada is so rare. Like it doesn't happen.
Really?
And so I tried so many ways to get in, and I kept trying to get in. I would try and sneak in. I would buy tickets to another movie and then go in, and then they would somehow find me. And then I think because I would go to the same movie theater every time. So I think the people that worked there were like,
here comes this fucking guy again trying to
they had your picture up all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I even got like my friend Vince, the guy who I said looked like Nicolas Cage. We got his mom, who's like this sweet Irish lady, to come in and buy us tickets. And she's like, "Can I get 3 tickets to Kill Bill Volume 1, please?" And she bought them for us. We went in, she left, and then they came in. But like the thing is about R is like even if your mom is with you, you can't watch it.
Oh, really? They came in and kicked you out?
Yeah,
like,
kicked all us out. And she was terrified. She's like, "Am I going to go to jail?" And they're like, "No." You just have to leave.
Wow. My mom did that for us. I was in grade 6 when the Beavis and Butthead Do America when that movie came out. And
but I can't imagine that was rated R. That was probably.
I don't know if it was rated R, but we were like 12 years old. We were in the grade 6, so even if it was PG-13, we were all like,
that was rated R.
We were all like 11 years old, 12 years old, and it might have been R anyway. But like, my mom came down and got it, and I don't know why the fuck she felt strongly enough to do it, but my mom had no censorship. Like she let me watch everything.
So like the cartoon where they make fart jokes. Why, like?
Yeah. I just called her and was like,
"Pee for his bunghole or whatever."
She was like, it was the coolest thing my mom ever fucking did. She got there were like 12, 15 of us, and she let us all go in. She was like, "Yep, I'll buy all the tickets."
I bet you a lot of your friends' parents probably hated your mom. They're like, "That fucking crazy lady took my kid to go see TP bunghole movie? What the heck?"
I don't know.
The TP really my butthole movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is. I've never.
Seen Jake's mom's cool as fuck. She used to let us stay up all night and eat chips and watch wrestling. So did my mom. My moms didn't know what we were doing. To be fair.
Yeah.
You guys really were latchkey kids, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. We were Beavis and Butthead, Jason and I. That's all we did was wander around looking for trouble.
This is my childhood. I remember I was watching X-Men, the animated series, at 10:30 p.m. when I was like 13, and my mom broke my fucking door down and yelled at me to go to bed.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What are you doing?
Wow.
Yeah.
But did you graduate?
My room is Storm, like she's like, "What you fucking doing? Go to bed."
How many years did it take you to graduate high school?
Yeah, that's a
3.
How many are the regular 3?
Yeah, it took me the.
Yeah, because we were. Jason and I just graduated this last year.
We're graduating next year. You guys should come to our ceremony.
There's a trade-off.
It took me about 6 years to not graduate high school, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I even dropped out of the special school for dropouts.
Yeah.
I went special school for dropouts.
Yeah. It's where they really coddle you and treat you with respect and feed you in the morning.
You have powers that are uncomparable to the rest of humankind. You're different, Jake. You're different, Jason.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
And I will.
I
teach
didn't
you how to
graduate
harness
that. Then
these
I
powers.
then I went to a year
Yeah.
of college, and they were like, we have to see your transcript so you can graduate from this college. So I quit all of it. And then I have two college diplomas now, because like as an adult you can just go to school. They don't tell you that. They're not like, when you're 30 you don't you just go take a course. It's not GED. You just go take a course
You sign
and you're
up
an
for it,
adult,
Yeah.
and then you can just do whatever you want
Also not a
because you're an adult.
competition. You can just do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically when you're old enough to talk to other adults and be like, here's the deal. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
And then-
Elite schools are like, we only want the best kids. We don't want anyone who's a fucking
Listen,
idiot.
I was never going to Dal or UFT from the
No.
get. I was never going to go to a Canadian Ivy League equivalent.
We're still impressed with ourselves for moving to Toronto. We're like,
Exactly.
can you believe it? Look at us. We're still here.
Look at us. We both went to we both did
Well
colleges.
exceeded yeah. Anyone's expectations.
Yeah.
In the basement doing a podcast.
Hey,
No,
Cheers,
you're in a
eh?
mall.
I'm loving it. Oh yeah, I'm in a 80s mall.
you're in a mall in the 80s. Look,
bless.
I'm looking out
Thank
a window in a
Yeah.
condo that I took 5 years to fucking. Anyway, Tommy is a piece of shit, because the next thing we see is him gaslighting everybody and trying to brainwash them. And Lauren sees through it because he's already dipped his fingers in her. They have a dance sequence in their underwear.
Peanut sauce.
Hey, ew. This was a moment where I was like, who is this movie for? Where it's just the girl, like it's like Julie and Laurelyn, who are like have identities, and then they're like four friends who have no identity. They're all the same person, but they're just all in their underwear for like another 5 minutes, and they're just saying this is the main moment where I was like, is this whole movie just no script, just say whatever? Because Laurelyn, or whatever the fuck her name is looking in the mirror, and she goes, no one's gonna. She holds up the
Who could forget?
Like the little dress thing.
Yeah.
Because they go into like the mom's room, and it's like, your mom's fucking clothes are so cool. Also, it's like a teddy or whatever. And she goes, no man's ever going to be able to resist me in. And then she trails off and she goes, what is it called? And the other girl goes, tits. So I'm like, did they just film them talking? And they're like,
That's what I
good
think.
enough.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
reshoots.
Yeah. Also, the only time any of these guys resist the girls is when they have tits out. It seems to be their kryptonite.
Yeah.
They're both attracted
wonder
to
what-
and frightened by it.
I wonder what would happen if they threw dicks out there. I think these guys would probably go into like sleeper mode. Like, just
Yeah.
give it to me.
Yeah. I think you're right about that. There's something to that.
And then we get sort of two things happening at once here. These girls are talking dick sizes while the B story is Skip trying to kind of bang the mom. Skip's now
Did you guys
in the
like wonder-
home.
did you guys like want to hear about whose dick is big and stuff? I was kind of like looking forward to that, and they never really kind of make it clear.
They
Did
go
you
like
look
this
into it?
at one point.
No, I didn't look into it, but I was
You're-
kind of
You're looking away like, I have a list of how big their dicks were.
I thought you were asking if we want to hear about it, like you had some information to share.
I don't, but
Okay.
now you mentioned that, I maybe should have done some research.
I can say that Tommy probably has a small penis. And Skip probably has a 9-foot behemoth cock.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Actually,
There's no
you can
question.
see he's wearing tight pants. You can see the outline of his penis, I'm pretty sure. Anyway,
Skip is still the A story as far as I'm concerned.
I love that you did that. We do see a woman in the shower as Skip just enters this household. She turns around and we get like the through the
Mhm.
shower nudity, and you think you're supposed to think that it's Beth, but maybe not, because it turns out to be like unnamed girl number 6, his actual girlfriend.
Susie.
And then Susie, and then Beth gets home and finds them in bed, and then we never see any of them for the rest of the movie, and that's their whole story.
So that's supposed to be like, holy shit, we thought he was gonna go. We thought that was the mom, but it was his own girlfriend. Like it really is like the effect wasn't there, was it? You're kind of like, I think
I was both relieved and also let down at the same time. So I don't know what the effect was meant to be, but because you're like, this lady's a sexual predator because she's like older than them. She's probably in her 20s or whatever.
Is Steve's audio fucked up, or am I just hearing that? Is that just me?
A little bit, yeah. Your audio's a little bit. It's like you're going fast.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that was too fast. That worked.
Is that fast?
Is your internet gonna die? Like, is that one of the telltale
Something
signs?
actually happening? Is I'm going too quickly?
Something's actually happening.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll leave and come back.
Yeah, leave and come back. Now that he's gone, we can talk about how Beth never got her tits out.
Yeah, I know. I was looking forward to that.
I was like,
I could tell something was amiss when it was through the shower. I'm like, that's not what I had in mind. I don't know.
That's not the color of her hair.
She's
got red hair.
That was weird the way that played out. It wasn't well done at all, was it? Like,
Look,
their
their story kind of plays as a 3-act thing, and the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm going, what is the point of this if it's not going to have any form of resolution? And the resolution is just Beth like, is it supposed to be like Skip did the right thing? Is that this end of that story?
I guess, but it's like, I don't know any of the three of them, so I don't know what's right or wrong. Like, I guess it's the right thing. Yeah, it's of course it is, because he didn't, but we just don't know any of them, do we? All we know is that both of them want to have sex with Skip, and Skip's like, I don't know, I'll figure it out on the fly. Whoever's in the shower, I'll have sex with them.
For some reason, it reminded me of like Judge Reinhold in is it Fast Times with the sister or whatever. It kind of reminded me of that whole thing, but then it was just like it made no sense.
Yeah, they could have cut that whole thing. Honestly, it really might have helped if they cut all that Skip stuff. There's enough there with Skip and those two for its own porno movie that they could have done on the side. Yeah,
I agree. Is my voice better now?
You're good. Yeah, you're good.
Yes.
Now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either the movie's 20 minutes. Either the movie, that's what you'd spent your time away doing. Either the movie's 20 minutes longer and we get a reasonable resolution of that story, or you just cut the whole fucking thing. Thank you, World Mind. You were absolutely correct. This is what World Mind says. This is correct.
Skipped.
Yeah. I never want to hear about goddamn Skip or Beth again. Unless that is... Yes.
I was hoping coming into this that we talk about Skip more than anything else, and
we have.
I'm not disappointed
because it doesn't make any fucking sense. And why is it there? It doesn't make any sense. Like,
Skip rules.
Skip rules. Maybe we need a movie just about Skip. The thing is, though, is that there are so many movies about Skip, and they're R to X rated, and most of them are just about like a man fucking his girlfriend's mom or whatever. And part of me kind of wishes that he was fucking her.
Give me what I want. Give me what I want.
But I also was like on high alert because I was she's a sexual predator. She knows she shouldn't be fucking these high school kids, but she's like also being like, we're close enough in age that it's not that much of a problem, and we're also like, I think that you're maybe a villain.
But also, like, she's married to,
and she knows her stepdaughter is into Skip too, so she's bad.
But she also says it's like a competition, so I think that she's got that sort of like gross competitive streak in her.
Legally, it's all in the up and up, but morally, it's a horse of another color.
I think
it's a Skip of another color.
I think both. I think they're both bad. Both bad. But it was 1983, so an older woman fucking a teenage boy was A-okay.
Everybody in the theater was like, Citizen Kane style. I farted. Julie talks to her dad for advice. He shows pictures of himself as like a flower child at Woodstock, but the point is like you got to go with the alt boy because it's not all about image. And then I was like, you know what? This movie might actually, the point, like the message might be like it's not what you dress like, it's like your quality of character. But we're about to learn.
She just immediately flat out ignores that advice.
Yes, she picks Tommy, and then
like
we also learn that Randy sucks because as soon as he's told no, he starts fucking smashing bottles and getting wasted. Sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was gonna say it's almost like her dad giving her this sort of sweet piece of advice and being very understanding and not being the typical dad that you would expect. She takes the opposite advice. She's like, he's basically like, well, if you like Randy, then you should go with Randy. And she's like, well, you know, and he's like, what's wrong? Does Dick get ripped off in some sort of thresher accident or something? And you're like, what? But Dad is being good.
He did ask about his genitalia. Yeah. It's like,
well, he's got a big dick or what?
Yeah.
But like, he's being kind of nice, you know, he's being good about it. He's not being.
No, Dad, I got my tits out, and he refused to touch me anymore.
Just calm down. Sorry. The nice thing here is that he's not turning into a typical dad.
That makes a great point. Sorry, so much interrupting going on.
Yeah. He's dad man. He's being a good dad. He's not looking at it from a perspective of I look at all men the exact same. He's looking at it as being like, what is going to make my daughter happy?
Yeah.
And instead of being protective in the classic sense or like the Neanderthal sense or like the gross male sense, he's connecting with her on a level that should be more.
I agree. He's a good dad.
Penetrative, but I should. That's not the best word. But like it should be. She should think about it more closely, and she's not. She doesn't take any of his advice to heart, and she only gives a shit about what her friends are gonna think, and it really just shows how much she sucks. So now I'm like,
well,
if you've read, suck, and she also sucks.
If you've read Bill Cosby's book on parenthood, the first rule is always use reverse psychology, right? We know that from The Simpsons and from having read all of Cosby's books, The Good Dr. Cosby.
Yeah.
Say what you will. Great doctor.
He's a great doctor. He also has like a cocktail book called like These Sweaters Made These Margaritas or whatever. Oh, jeez.
That took a turn.
So okay, what if your doctor walked in and he had a leather lab coat on and also he was Dr. Cosby?
And he was Bill Cosby? Dr. Huxtable?
Yeah. He's not Cosby, but his name is Huxtable. And you're like, huh. And is that leather?
My name is Dr. Huxtable, and today
my name is Dr. Huxtable.
Margaritas.
Kyle Huxtable.
Oh my God.
But my point is
Adolf Huxtable.
I'm going to cut that into it.
That's my punk name.
Adolf
Huxtable.
Adolf Huxtable.
Bite it, you scum fucking sucking whore.
I'm drunk now.
Anyway, Dad is a good guy, and he's trying to show his daughter that she can be happy, but she needs to make sure that she's looking out for her happiness. And she doesn't take his advice, even though he's like, I've never shown you this before, but I used to be a hippie. And then she's the least she's pretty shocked, but the rest of us are like, okay, yeah, obviously these fucking weirdos.
It's like, ew, Dad, you used to dress like that. And he's like, a lot of people dressed like that back then.
I almost named you Moon Bucks or whatever.
Moon Bucks.
Yeah.
That's got layers to it. I like it. So Julie immediately tells her friends this dilemma, and they're like, and Tommy shows up, and then they just hash it out. And he's like, here's a bracelet. And she's like, obviously I need to be with Tommy. And then he kisses her on the cheek, and then she doesn't even really feign some of it. And he's even like, yo, can I get some of your booger too?
I have to ask you guys, is this bracelet like a thing before, or is this just like a now? No, okay.
I thought she was already wearing the same bracelet.
She's
like-
got
she,
many.
like, puts it on over.
It's just he puts it on her wrist and it's like, now I own you now. Like
yeah.
It's
you
like
were,
a
yeah,
handcuff to a relationship. Yeah.
it's very old fashioned. There's something about when you watch 80s stuff, there's something very 50s about it too. Like there's still
My parents both have weird like bracelets and
like
shackles
promise
of-
rings and stuff were like still a thing. Yeah.
that are representative of their ownership of each other.
Yeah.
And like, no, fine. If you want to do that, that's fine. But if anybody ever gave me something that was like, this signifies that I own a piece of you, I'd be like,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm gonna use my to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Here's a piece of jewelry, and if I ever see you not wearing it, I'm gonna get upset. Like,
Yeah.
great.
If you're not wearing it, it
That's
means you're
normal.
cheating on me.
Yeah.
Pardon
Hmm.
me?
It's a trust ring, because I'll never trust you unless you wear the trust ring.
Like I
It'd be a
even
real
feel
shame
weird
if,
about wedding rings. You know, like when people get married now, and like
Mm.
I see them wearing a ring, I'm like, you guys still do that? Is that's a thing still?
Yeah.
Jason, we all know that you broke the mold when you were born. God was in his human creation machine. He's like, oh fuck, I broke a mold down here. He's like,
Yeah.
wow, look at this guy. All
And
right.
just hucks it down to earth.
Diddle-diddle-dee-dee.
Get a ting 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 all the way down.
Lands in Nova Scotia. It's like perfect.
Perfect. That's where I'll hide my.
Starting point. Great starting point.
Nova Scotia is, of course, the attic of Canada, where we keep all of our abominations.
Mhm.
It'd be a real shame if Randy just showed up everywhere that. No, sorry. Before that, Randy shows up at her house and it's like, "I love you."
Well, he doesn't
Oh,
do that. He's confused because she breaks up with him in such a. She's already told all her friends that she broke up with him, but she hasn't broke up with him.
That's kind of realistic, by the way. That's kind of how breakups happen when you're younger. You just have to like turn on them.
Yeah, like
And-
immediately. You
Yeah.
can't- because adult breakups happen over time where you start to grade against each other and you realize like, oh, it's deteriorating and we need to be away from each other.
And you try to
Whereas young
figure out the
men-
most responsible way to get out of it. And like, yeah.
You're not so much concerned about the social aspects of your relationships later in life as you
Yeah.
are about just like trying to
My
maybe be together because you still care about the person and not hurting their feelings.
my tactic at this age was to ghost the girl I was dating to leave the relationship. So
In grade 7, Jason, didn't I get you to break up with somebody for me?
yes,
Yeah.
and probably vice versa.
Yeah. I remember kind of making you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you just
I was like dictating. I was like in the room and you were on the phone. I was like, tell her it's not her, it's me.
And then tell her it's not me, but
I
it's
just
you,
don't
Jason
see us
Synopsis, that is doing the job.
being together in that way anymore?
Yes, it's monstrous, but I was
Absolutely.
12, 13. We're kids, children. We would never do that now.
No. Madison,
I could get away with
come
it.
here, I need to tell you something.
Madison's
Yeah.
like, I need to talk to you, Jason.
You really did me a solid that day, Jace. I appreciate it.
Well,
I
you're
don't know if I ever
welcome,
thanked you
man.
properly for that.
Well,
you in an awkward
probably
place.
didn't. You probably said something homophobic at me.
Well, it was 1997 or whatever.
It was 1998. Yeah.
The year of the beast. That's
Da-
when
da-
everybody's
da- da- da-
allowed
da.
to say homophobic stuff.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he runs up to her house. He's like, I love you. She's like, we can't be together anymore. And he's like, why? And she's like, I'll never tell. And he's like, it's
Actually,
because of your friends.
Also a pretty good moment in this where he comes up and he says, hey, what's up? And she's like, you can't just show up to my fucking house, you goddamn idiot. And he's like, what? Because she's really rude to him right out of the fucking gate. And then
Yeah, all of a
he's
sudden
okay,
she's like, I hate your spontaneous cavalier
and he's
attitude.
Like, well, give me a
Yeah.
quarter and I'll go down the street and I'll call you. And then I'll call you and ask if I can come talk to you. And I'll come back here and talk to you. And like, that's kind of a charming, funny thing to say.
Mhm.
But then she's like, no, get out of here now. I don't like you anymore.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's heard this at some point. if you've gone through like a stupid, shitty relationship where it really didn't matter, which is, this whole movie is these stupid, shitty relationships don't matter. So who cares? But I don't know. Like it grated me extra hard because I was like, I don't care about him either. I don't care about like even if he left and never came back, I'd be fine with how this is gonna end.
Yeah, totally. It's like honestly, it's you're both better off. Let's just move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, we're only in the second act.
He loses his fucking mind.
We now have to have a fun montage where he tries to get her back by faking jobs. He's like Hitman from the Hitman video game.
He puts in a tremendous.
Before that, though, we get a great kind of montagey scene of him getting wasted. And as he leaves her house, he's like, well, fuck you. Like, totally. And I'm like, is he mocking her? Is that just the way they talk? But yeah, now he's drinking and freaking out. Nic Cage style overacting even early, this early in his career.
This is where the real lawsuit came in, when he was like, I studied Valley Girls for years. What's his name? Zappa Moon?
Frank Zappa? Yeah, Frank Zappa.
Yeah. He was like, this is where it really came down to is Nicolas Cage's performance after he was broken up with. This is where the Valley Girls that I truly witnessed and put on camera were stolen from. It was like, well, fuck you. And then he has like I remember getting up because I was like, oh God, another montage. And I got up and I saw him pull a bottle out of, and like, what is it? Is it wine? Is it whiskey?
It's wine.
There's a lot of wine drinking in this movie. That's why I'm drinking wine, by the way. I meant to.
I'm also drinking wine.
Tie it in. Yeah. Cheers. Yeah. They all drink. They drink wine. Just this movie. It's a very.
It's cheap and it's easier to buy wine than it is to buy.
Yeah.
We used to drink Great White and Golden Glow, all kinds of shit.
Great Red.
Yeah.
But when he throws that wine bottle and the sound of it exploding and it doesn't even like break the right way, I thought that was great.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
He finds a girl. He goes back to his favorite club. He finds a girl there. They start making out. She gets her tits out. He's like, I don't want any part of this anymore. Because she didn't get nude, but that was the way the scene plays out.
No, Jason, come on. You didn't understand the scene. What happens is,
why didn't I understand it? I was making a joke. I do understand the scene. I was just making a joke.
Right. What happened is he's making out with her, and then he sees her boobs, and just like every other moment in the movie, he's
you
like,
"Son of a bitch!" That's what I just said.
Yeah,
What's
going on here?
No, what he sees is two Valley Girls.
Only you guys can argue while both saying the exact same thing.
That's kind of the gimmick of this show.
Like, talking shit and like being Valley Girls, and it reminds him of her stupid bullshit that she always does, and he's like, oh, and he does like the thing that we all know and love.
Not the beast, not the beast.
But you get it because they remind him of her or whatever, and you're just kind of like, oh, God, okay, go.
So that woman that he is having some kind of sex with is like she's not a character, right? Like she seems like.
I don't think so. Yeah,
I got the impression that if we would have gotten a scene of the Valley Girls meeting his friends, she would have been like, "Who are these bitches?"
Like the ex-girlfriend who's like, he's like, "All right, I guess I'll settle for you." And
the girl who's always around character.
Yeah. Like
they really sped through that part. Yeah,
make us actually understand Nicolas Cage a little bit more. Oh, he has a past. He's not just like a weird cartoon character that jumped off of like a cigarette pack, being like,
yeah. There's never any. There's no like pondering with like, oh man, I made out with my ex-girlfriend. Like there's like none of that. He just does it and they move on.
There is.
It's one of those movies where we need both.
This is the only scene where he ponders with it, which is he's staring at tits and then he sees two Valley Girls being like, and then he's like, oh, I miss my Valley Girl. That's it. That's the only time he ponders anything.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies though where we need both more movie and less movie. Like take out all the skip stuff and give us a scene where he's interacting with his extended friend group.
I'm way more invested in Skip than I am in anything else.
I know, and that's very clear that the ridiculousness of all of that is much more entertaining. potentially. But I really wanted a scene where like the worlds collide that we never got, because like you just said, Steve, Randy is a cartoon character that jumped off a cigarette pack. I think this is the best way.
And he's like, wait a minute, I thought this was America. This is not America.
So he almost gets he goes outside and he's like yelling racial slurs or whatever. He almost gets the shit beaten out of him, but Fred shows up luckily.
What? Does that happen? That doesn't happen, does it?
Well, he walks outside and he's just yelling at this like car that goes by of like
guy comes
Italian guys
they were essays.
Yeah. There's a guy that's driving past him and he's like, hey, you need a light, and then he flicks a cigarette at him. And
right.
Like, get out of the car, man, get the fuck out of the car. And this guy gets out and he's wearing like those big ass sunglasses and he has a cane. And my first reaction is like, is this guy blind? Is this blind guy that I kick the shit out of him?
Surely Randy should be able to take care of this guy.
Yeah. But then he starts swinging and then he runs away. And then my base like instinct was to voice this character. And he's like, I can smell you. I can still smell you. Which I think would have been great if he was blind and he hunted him for a while.
Because it was confirmed that Nicolas Cage, that Randy smells really bad.
Mm-hmm.
In this,
because when he goes into those punk clubs, he doesn't wash the chairs off that are like covered in cum and shit or whatever.
Yeah, that's his world. That's his home away from home. Yeah.
The cum shit club. Fred takes him down an alleyway and gives him a pep talk, and he's being Randy's being belligerent and puking, and Fred's just kind of like, look, man, we're gonna figure this out.
Is this the first Fred spotting we have had in like a long while, right?
Since the makeout point, I believe.
Yeah. Where has he been at?
Because we're rapidly getting towards the end of this movie, which is crazy because like nothing's happened for a while except for like, I can't be with you anymore. Well, fuck you.
But we have to go through the montage of him trying to get her back, which is him just disguising himself as like.
I just want to ask you before we get to that ridiculous hitman thing.
How would you disguise yourself?
But when he gets into the car, so we catch Julie getting into a car with two women who we haven't seen in this whole movie to now. I speculate it's her like aunts or something, and Randy just gets into the back seat at this point and is like, "I love you. We need to be together."
That's her friend, and that's her friend's mom. I think there's.
Oh, okay. That's how just like, whoa.
You guys hearing that?
Yeah, is that your washing machine?
Nope.
Oh. That's fine.
It's a ghost.
It's just a once in a while. But so they're so generic that it's literally just.
Well, it's the main evil friend or whatever. The evil friend, the friend who's like really into getting her back with Tommy for some reason, which I don't understand it. Maybe there's a hierarchy that we don't know about in the school where like them getting
her friends are scared that if she continues on with Randy, they're going to get drawn into the world of punk, and they're going to have to go see a concert once in a while.
Yeah.
Which
and they're like, we cannot
terrifying proposition. Yeah.
Have to go to those again.
No.
Unless it's clean off my dress. I sat in a chair full of cum.
Yeah, unless it's prom, and then we'll take any freaky band you can get.
Yeah, they don't take as much cum on my dress as you can offer me.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it so much because it doesn't make sense and there's no reason for it. It's just a character just being a bitch for the character to be a bitch. Like that's all that exists around her is like she had this, like we talked about her earlier. She has this crazy sort of railroading roller coaster of a character arc where she's a bitch and then she's kind of fun and then she's, like she dips down again and then she goes up again and you're like, who is she? And she becomes like a full villain when she's like, I'm going to get you back together with Tommy. And then at the end, she's just left alone at the prom by herself. Like
it's weird.
Yeah. It's so
you think she's coming around to it. Like when the guy's chasing her in the car and they kiss, it's like, okay, she came around, but then.
Well, that they've secretly been dating like outside of the movie, outside of the movie, they are secretly, there's an interesting story with her and him that we don't see.
No,
instead,
but we
get Skip.
Instead, we get Skip. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
totally superfluous. Old superfluous Skip. Yeah.
What are Fred and Stacy up to this whole time? Just
Well,
not-
Skip brings the cups to the prom, so
right.
we do need
So he
to
gets
keep
a
an eye on
fourth
those
act.
comings and goings. Yeah.
He does get a fourth act. But this is the segment, another kind of montage, but with talking, that starts off with, she's kind of lamenting the fact that she's back with Tommy, and Eyes of a Stranger comes on the radio, and we get to hear that great song again. But then they go to like the
Jason,
drive-in, and
whenever you get up to the microphone, I'm like,
oh, is it that?
Just say-
Is it-
it's
Too
pretty
loud.
significant. The difference. Not to get in
Oh.
your head about it. Just when you come right up to it.
Well, this is happening, so I think our audio levels are all over the place tonight. But whatever.
Okay.
Uh,
I'll try to sit
then
still.
Wait, did you say mine's louder or quieter?
Yours is a little quieter.
Oh, I'll turn it up.
I actually turned my volume down.
That was 5 minutes ago. It might have resolved itself.
Good thing we're
Yeah.
only 3 hours into the show.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we're almost done.
This is like
Then
watching
we'll
okay.
Yeah.
It's like nothing. Let's go on.
But right, he puts the song on for her. There's the pictures, the stalker behavior. They go to the movies. Bitchin', is this in 3D? No, but your face is, which was just
So he seems to get jobs at the places they're going to go on dates. He gets a job at the movie. He's like, they're going to the movies. And he quickly gets hired at the movie theater.
I didn't even put that together.
And then he's
Well,
a
he knows
chef
everybody.
at the right. He's popular. Everybody wants to
I
help
mean,
him out.
I don't know if you guys know about this, but in the 80s, it was also a popular slogan. Nobody wants to work anymore. So like he was taking advantage of that situation where nobody wanted to
Right.
work at any of these places. So
Right.
he was getting
We don't
jobs
have-
real quick just to be able to
In
sit
today's
down
job
and
economy,
laugh.
that seems totally impossible. Yeah.
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 But
Well, of
also
course, nobody wants to work anymore.
my headcanon was that he was like
Lord knows I
Hitman,
don't.
Agent 47 from the Hitman video games, where he would go to the restaurant and he would just like knock somebody out with a monkey wrench, like, and take their uniform and then go in and pretend to work there for 45 minutes just to appear. Like this is the other thing, is that he's just there to appear, to like have her get excited to see him.
Yeah.
And
And she is psyched about it every time, which is
But
like,
it doesn't work ultimately.
Yeah.
it doesn't work. And also her boyfriend doesn't recognize him for some reason. Like he knows what he looks like.
Yeah.
just
You're
has
right.
a different hat and glasses on every
He's
time.
an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
But I
insulting
will
the
say-
guy. What's the guy's name? Tommy?
Yeah.
He's every time that they encounter each other, he's like, he's
Who's this
ripping on him
fucking-
and spilling
Yeah.
shit on him.
You dating this fucking idiot? He like spits his gum into his lap at one
Yeah.
point. I will say that I did the line you said, Jason, where it's like, oh, sick, is this in 3D? No, but your face is. Like I laughed so hard at that
Yeah.
because not a single other thing in this entire movie made me laugh except for no, but your faces, because it's not a joke. It's not a joke. That's just an observation. That's
It's just
true.
dumb and
Your
real
face is
and true. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And then the most egregious thing of this whole segment is that he just camps out. Not only does he camp out on her lawn in plain sight of all the neighbors
that
and
was
the
the
parents,
parents thing. I didn't like that.
but he's fully nude in that sleeping bag.
Yeah. And he's coughing like he has like COVID. Like he's,
Yeah.
like, he's like dying on her front line. Like he has the plague.
So
Yeah. But it doesn't
And then-
work. She that
She's
whole
still
I can't
onslaught,
believe it
that
didn't
whole
work. I
montage.
can't believe stalking didn't work, guys. I
Because all
can't
the while
believe
she's
it.
kind of. By the way, did we mention that whenever there's a shot of her in her bedroom in bed, she sleeps with this creepiest little clown doll you've ever seen in your life?
clock that.
You guys didn't see that?
I mean,
didn't
I
notice
probably
She
that.
sleeps with this like old dirty clown, like this old antique from like the 1890s.
I was probably more.
She's a
concerned about
juggalo.
The man like stalking her around all of her, things that she does for entertainment. I was not concerned about a haunted doll.
It's very disturbing. You're never going to see it. You're never going to watch this
No,
movie.
I
if
don't
you
think
go
I'll
see
ever
it.
watch this movie again unless I'm forced.
No,
to.
I deleted it from everywhere that I had it almost
Okay.
immediately.
I'm going to watch it again as soon as we're done here.
Send me a picture of the creepy clown. But
Sure.
luckily, Fred has a plan.
Yeah,
Fred
brilliant plan,
has
genius
a
plan.
plan.
Yeah.
And my immediate so what happened is I have my notes, and then I, just to keep us on track, I do a chat GPT like rundown of the movie, just so if I get lost on a big point I can just kind of check it. And I read ahead by accident a little bit. I'm like, oh, prom, of course this fucking piece of shit's gonna end at a prom. And I was like, there's no way that Fred's idea is just to go to prom, right? and then Fred's like takes him to prom, and he's
So
like,
trust
no,
me.
this is not it's not the plan. And then finally Nick Cage is like, what's the plan? He's like,
You're in
doing
it, brother. You're inside it right now.
Yeah, so it's prom time, I guess. And
So all
that
those
was-
other plans, by the way, of like I'm gonna become an usher at the movie theater for just to interrupt their date.
That was again.
That was his own.
Well, it's like you know, the idea of like, you know, putting an idea out there without being directly influencing it. Like you're not telling somebody a piece of information, but you're like slowly seeding it in other ways. That was
Yes.
him doing that with his face. He's just like, bing, it's my face. Remember, I'm delivering you burgers. I'm gonna let you into this movie. But
she's like,
he
if
knew
you
it.
really want to, she's like, that's all well and good, but if you really want to tie this up, you're gonna have to beat him up.
Beat the shit out of my boyfriend at prom.
And that's
he's
where
about
Fred
to be
comes in with
crowned.
his brilliant plan. Yeah.
at junior prom.
This is the moment that made me realize that I had been wasting my time watching a movie, because I was like, it's got to end at least in some satisfying way, but it ends in the dumbest way possible. And
He shows
there's no
up at the
defending it.
prom and kicks
There's
his
no
ass.
defending it. Yeah. The only good do you guys have a favorite prom scene moment? Because I have one, but like I don't. Everything else is just kind of bullshit.
Of this
whole-
movie?
In this movie?
No. In this
Or, like, in
sequence,
general?
the
Oh.
prom scene
Yeah.
in this movie.
Yeah.
Well,
Or-
I think
when-
I mean, if
when
you want to
Skip-
talk
when
about a
Skip
prom
show-
scene
When Skip
in
shows
any
up at the
other
cups,
movie, yeah.
when Skip shows up at the cups and they go, oh, sweet, Skip, you brought the cups. Because they planted the seeds, you see, at the beginning of the prom. They're like, where's the cups? That happened twice. They're spiking the punch. They're like, oh, there's no cups here. And like a little bit before that, it was like, we have everything we need except for cups. And then who should show up with cups but Skip?
Well,
He's got a bunch of cups.
Skip
And he
is a
lays them
secret
down the
cop.
table.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, hey, thanks, Skip. You brought the cups.
the only man
You know
impervious
what
to
would've been
seeing breasts
crazy
and
is if
still
this-
wants to continue after he sees breasts is Skip as well. If you,
You know
if
what would
you
have been
notice.
crazy is that if the Skip shows up with the cop sequence, revealed that Kip was a cop, and then he
Skip's cop. Yeah.
also arrested the mom for fucking him. He's like, I also
Yeah.
had sex with your mom. She thought I was 17, so she's going to jail. And she's like, oh, like Beth gets arrested. That
Yeah.
would have been good too.
My favorite, because they speed ran tropes during this prom, because every fucking teen movie has to have a prom, and every prom has to have some guys, you know, spiking the punch. I thought it was really funny that the resolution to that is they spike the punch, and the driving instructor comes over and tastes it and goes
Yeah.
like, well, it's a little flat, insinuating that
too.
like
By the way, that was
Yeah.
mine as well. Because they just poured all that. That would be just booze.
it
He would be
right
like,
on the top. Yeah.
He would be like, whoa, but instead he's like,
Yeah.
needs a little more 7-Up. Let's get some
He's
Dr.
way
Pepper
ahead.
in this bitch.
We were kind of grossed out that he'd stuck his finger in the punch. And it was like, ew, everybody,
Ugh.
people are going to drink that.
Listen, it was 1983. People were sticking their fingers where they didn't belong.
You're right. If you didn't stick your finger where it didn't belong, you weren't there, man.
Also, there was that line that's like, what is this, Bangkok? I don't need a massage. I forget when that happened, but
Oh, I know when that happened. That was the parents. Because he was stressed out. She was massaging his pecs. Like
He's
she
like,
was really
"Stop
she was
massaging."
feeling him up. Yeah.
She wanted to fuck, and then, but he had smoked weed in the bathroom. Yeah, there was like the moment where like they both were matching in pink, and she was like, "Get out here, we gotta take a picture because he's in pink or whatever." And I didn't really get it. I didn't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I
No,
understand.
none of that registered with me either. I was like, they were saying stuff, but
I understand it's your child is going to prom, so it's like a big day. You
Yeah.
want to see it. You
Junior
wanna-
prom.
I don't know what the difference is between junior prom and prom. Is there a difference?
It's prom. It's just prom in grade 10, I think.
yeah.
Is it?
Well, what's
It's not graduation. It's just
Isn't-
like
Isn't sophomore the first year?
no, that's the
what?
second
Okay,
year.
Google.
I
What
thought
is junior
sophomore was
prom?
the first one. I don't know. This
We
is
didn't know
all
shit
American
all about
terminology.
proms.
I only
Yeah,
know
exactly.
Canadian terminology. I don't know. What it
Yeah,
is.
American school culture is more intense
It's
than
so
ours is.
strange. It's so
Yeah.
confusing.
In others, having a junior prom is also a thing. The school does it as a school function, and it's essentially the same thing as a senior prom,
Oh,
just for
okay.
juniors.
Can you hear that? If you can't hear
Yeah,
it,
it's the
basically,
same thing as a senior prom, except with
Yeah, okay.
juniors. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Well, but what was the difference?
not sorry. No, there was no. It's just in some states it's called junior prom instead of
That
senior.
prom,
still their
prom,
senior
prom.
Yeah, 'Cause I think the junior is like their junior college instead of senior high school, maybe.
Oh, whatever. Who? gives a
Whatever. Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Anyway, take back all that erasure. Take back all that stuff I said about it not being a senior prom because it's prom. At any rate, Fred still has a plan. I hope it isn't just go to the prom. Randy's not pleased. Yep, it is go to the prom. Also, what was this song? This band. If you watch the end credits, it's called like
Johnny's
Susan and the-
Are You Queer, Joey? That one?
Yeah, that's playing
Yeah.
for so long.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that, Steve? Because like this is a real song that exists, and at first I was like, "Oh, is it like queer as in like like not?"
No,
the,
Jason.
that
Yeah, but then the
connotation?
backup dancers were going.
The backup.
Oh,
Are
is
you
it just queer as in like we're different? No,
Mhm.
No,
it's a song
that
about
was this.
asking a boy why he
Yeah.
hasn't asked a girl to dance. What are
Yes.
you gay? What are you
Yes.
gay?
Yes.
Ugh. So after that whole, because we were watching it together, and I was like, the song is very offensive, and Danny was like, yes, and I was like, how long is it gonna go for? And Danny was like, yes. Like, yeah, it's gonna keep going, isn't it? It kept going, and then there was a break, and then the singer went up and like grabbed the mic again, and I was like, and now this is a song about being racist from the perspective of a white person, and like she started singing like a new song or whatever.
Do you know what I noticed too? To the same note is, Tommy. Randy says the F slur. He calls Tommy the F slur when they get into the original fight at the party at the beginning, and it's muted. But what I thought was weird
It's not
about that,
muted, it's there. It's-
well, so you clocked that as well. But what's interesting and weird about that is that like Randy's supposed to be the like alt character. You would
it's
think that
1983, Jason. Relax.
you would think, but you would think that the preppy
You'd think
jock
he'd be like,
character would be the
you
one.
piece of shit. I almost said the F slur, but I didn't. Like, no,
Anyway,
like-
my point is that it's interesting that Randy was the one that says it. So he's not a good person.
Oh,
I-
back then it's like it's
I
the
can
way,
put
like,
a movie in 1983, and it's a-okay to say the F slur as long as it's in a moment of battle like that. It's okay. You know, like I watch Theodore Preston and Logan or whatever. They say the F slur, and I love those boys. And I know they would never say it now, but they said it back then. So I'm not gonna unpile the castle on top of them. I'm not gonna pull the
Okay.
support beams out from under them. You know, like
also
I
when
get-
that
I get that certain words were used back then that aren't used now, and I'm not gonna be mad at it. And when I heard it, I was like, ugh. And I said, he's a bad guy. But at the same time, I was like, but he's supposed to be the good guy, so we'll give him some slack. But then as the movie went on, I'm like, no, he's not a good guy. So you know what? Maybe he probably still says it.
well that Johnny, are you? Oh, I'm sorry, Steve.
I was going
I'm
to say
drunk.
the difference
Cutting you off.
between, what was it? It's Bill S. Preston and Theodore Logan. The difference between them, and the difference between Nicolas Cage's character in this movie is that Bill S. Preston and Theodore Logan would never ever say the F slur now as their
Right.
characters. Whereas I kind of believe that maybe this character played by Nicolas Cage might still use the F slur when
Okay.
he thinks he can
yeah.
get away with it, you know? Whereas
Well, he would be exactly the
whereas
age
the
of
two
Nick
boys-
Cage now. So
whereas the two boys who have gone through time and dealt with a bunch of sort of like temporal mania would look at the
once you go
world
back and meet the Romans, you're like, I'm cool with gay people forever. I
the
think.
two of them would look at the world as a place of peace and harmony, and they would see that word as something harmful. Whereas he wouldn't give a shit because he'd be like, I just want to care about me and titties and fucking or whatever.
Same, honestly.
Yeah.
As far as that Johnny Are You Queer song goes, once they panned out and you saw the keyboard player and the bass player, I'm like, well, one of those guys might have written the song. Like, it might have been progressive for 1983.
It's like a dinner bell song. They're like,
yeah,
ding, 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 ding. Yeah,
perhaps.
So,
I think it was a lot. I
just so
think it
you
was a
guys know,
lot to
there's-
have the
there's such thing
backup
as a dinner
singers
bell song.
do the
which is
hand
like,
thing.
If you're a gay singer, pop singer, you would put a dinner bell song out for those out there that didn't know, or like,
Yeah.
you know, is he gay? Is he not? If you did a
Like
song
you
like
friend
that,
friends with Alice
Yeah.
or whatever.
Am I gay? Ring a ding ding.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Also, I have a theory.
By the way, take that clip of me saying, "Am I gay?" Ring a ding ding.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
It's not a very deep theory. I think that Fred just wanted to see Stacy at prom. I don't think that he gave a shit about Randy because Randy's so fucking
Oh,
volatile.
of course.
He was just like, you know what? This is the only way I'm going to see Stacy. If I have my wingman, I'm going to trick him into getting back with his fucking also volatile girlfriend. I think that Fred and Stacy for life is the play, and they're happily married to this day.
Agreed.
Right.
Prom's coming up, and all of a sudden he has a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stacey's
Dinner bell for
mom has got it
Fred for
going
Stacy.
on.
Yeah.
Stacy, can't you see? She's not the girl for me.
I gotta get going, you guys. It's pretty late.
Okay. Let's wrap it up here. While they're about to announce the king and queen, Tommy and Randy fight, it's cheesy as fuck. As they're announced, Randy gets wrecked by Tommy. Julie's into it, and they leave together. But then it turns into a food fight because it's the 80s. They get into the back of
Can you
his
guys figure out
car.
what food they're fighting with? Because I could not.
Green.
Have you guys ever been entertained by a food fight, like in your entire lives,
No.
including being a baby?
No.
I feel like
Who
when I
are
was a
food
kid-
fights for?
I feel like when I was a kid,
Babies
the idea of a
and
food
idiots.
fight was like perpetuated on us by media. Like they're like, imagine everybody was supposed to eat their food, but instead they threw their food.
In a world where everybody's throwing food around.
Yeah.
And then we get the very final moment where they're, she's in the car, they're in the car together. It kind of reminds me of that what's the Dustin Hoffman movie?
Yeah.
They end up-
Blade
and
Runner.
they're like, well, what now?
Yeah.
Well, what now?
Why can't I pull the name of that movie? Yeah. The Graduate.
The Graduate. Kind of
That's what I thought they were doing. Yeah. I thought they were both
Yeah.
going to just sit there and
Like,
realize that
no.
it was all for naught. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
but
it was.
she tosses the bracelet and they drive off, and then the credits play. And now that is the end of the movie. Does anybody have anything else that they want to talk about before we get into our last stretch here? Jake has to go to bed. He's very precious.
Nicolas Cage's teeth are weird in this movie, and I wonder when his teeth got fixed because his teeth are very fucking weird in this movie.
I appreciated that he had normal human teeth. I'm sure now he has porcelain white veneers.
But even in
I like when people have regular teeth.
even in
Weird teeth.
raising Arizona,
No, I'm not saying that just because I have weird teeth.
I have weird teeth too. Like look at my teeth.
I have perfect teeth.
You do have nice teeth.
A lot of money went into these teeth.
My teeth, these two, like they come together like a Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, mine are overlapping. I have all my wisdom teeth, and they're crowding all my teeth together, and I'm 40 years old.
Yeah. Well, the dentists have been like, "Come on, man, there's a car crash happening back there."
Yeah.
So I don't really have much else to say other than like, there's a part of me that maybe wishes that the two boys got together because like they seem like they're well suited to be together because they're both kind of shitty idiots and they might be able to like take over the world together if they tried hard enough.
Yeah.
And she's not desirable enough in my eyes to fight over. I would prefer Rugrats to her. I
Agreed.
don't know. Like, there's nothing really special about her in terms of her character or
LG Daly was my favorite part of this whole movie. And
if
she was only
if she was like an artist or something, or like a musician, or like if she had anything else going on other than just being like, oh, I don't know, like
Just like,
what? Why is this something that anybody gives?
They also just go in and out of the Valley dialect. Her character is especially egregious for it. Like sometimes she just talks.
Also, LG Daly is. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
LG Daly is clearly the most punk-ready character of all the Valley girls. Like, she seems to me like she should go up to what's the main character's name?
Randy.
No, the
Tommy.
lady. No, the woman.
Julie.
The main character, Julie. Yeah, if LG Daly went up, I would think that she would help Julie go like, hey, no, it's cool to like. She seems like a punk chick.
Yeah, but also they make her seem like she's the weakest out of all of them, which is kind of annoying to me.
Yeah,
but she's also the one that gives her the most steadfast and useful advice, I think, throughout the movie. She's the one that talks to her.
Mm-hmm.
But like
we didn't talk about it, but there is that one scene where she like kind of tries to like tell her the truth about the fact that she's got with Tommy, and then they both sort of do that thing where they're like, we can read each other's subtext, but still she never says what she did, and she's like, some things aren't meant to be said out loud.
Like playing
the point of this is for you to tell her what you're doing, what you did.
Playing to Jake's point, I think that like it would have been an interesting reveal if she's like, I've been with them before. Like I've always because she does have sort of like the hair where you can turn that into a punk hairstyle.
Yeah, and she's got that attitude too. She just has the New Yorkie kind of spunk.
And like maybe
that would be great. Yeah,
she's a secret punk. Yeah. But rewriting movies that were written in the 80s is a bad look for us. So we don't want to do that over here. But I get what you're saying, and I really think that it should have been more. It just felt like a very weak story. It's a story that you could hear from an actual sort of group of teenage girls from the 80s in the worst possible way, where it's just like this flimsy story that you're like, that's not interesting. Add more interesting things into it, and there isn't a lot of that. The most interesting thing is Kip almost fucking his girlfriend's mom. Like that's the most interesting part of this movie.
Yeah. And E.G. Daly getting her jumpsuit unzipped and zipped back up unceremoniously. Yeah.
So with that being said, let's go into the Home Alone of it all. We'll talk about our favorite points, and then we'll do a couple things, and then we'll let Jake go take some beauty rest.
If you had to pick one, what do you think the Home Alone of it all? The Home Alone of it all? Can someone please tell me when the Home Alone? I really got to know. When is the Home Alone of it all? What is the Home Alone of it all? Now that's the Home Alone of it all.
That reminds me of that Adam Sandler sketch. Remember you gotta respect. Oh, you gotta respect. Remember the respect sketch?
Yeah, you gotta respect the condom.
Respect. Yeah.
Sorry, Jake. I'm just razzing you. With the last time you were on, we were just talking about some wrestling movie for way too. We were talking about The Wrestler for way too long. And you're like, what are we doing here? And it was like, yeah, okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
A good movie though. Yeah.
I didn't mean to bring antsiness into this, but I have a guest staying in the room that I'm. who they're waiting patiently upstairs.
Okay, the New York fries over there.
We're almost.
Listen, guys, I'm a punk. I got to go to do punk stuff.
Yeah. The Home Alone of it all is, of course, the idea that in the movie Home Alone, Kevin McAllister slaps down the blueprint and sets out his plan to take down Harry and Marv, to destroy their lives and possibly their noses. This segment is just for us to sort of talk about our version of that slapping down the blueprint. It can sort of also be our favorite sequence of the movie, the part of the movie we came here to see.
Yeah.
So Jake, you're up first. You've done this before. What's your Home Alone of it all for the Valley Girl?
For me, where I got really finally, like I got swept up and pulled into the stories when Susie's stepmom says, I got a tip for you, Skip. Plastic, right? And you go, But then he shows up at the prom with plastic cups. Slaps it.
Oh,
I'm like, you son of a bitch, you tied it all together.
You did it. This movie.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah.
Now we understand why. We understand why.
That's what it's all about.
and he's a delivery man, so it makes perfect sense.
He said, I'll take your plastic tip, I'll fuck your daughter, and I'll bring the cups to the prom.
Perfect. Thanks, Jake. How about you, Steve?
Oh man. Well, considering I didn't know what I was getting into and I didn't know where it was going to go, except, maybe 5 to 10 minutes into the movie, I did kind of know where it was going to go. There was one moment near the end of the party before he gets kicked out where I was like, is this going to be the whole movie is at this party? And I was like so excited because I was like, if this is just a whole movie is just this party, I'll be in to this movie where they explore all the different characters and they like, the character that they were talking about in the food court earlier, and then like her boyfriend and Nicolas Cage, and they can all have all these different disputes throughout this night and have this really cool party experience. I'll be in. And then he gets kicked out and I was like, oh, it's not that. And that was my Home Alone, where I created another version of the movie in my head that I thought would be better. That was my Home Alone of it all.
Nice. Mine's pretty basic. I think that
You don't have anything to say about that? Come on.
well,
Nice. You said nice.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Because
Pretty
then when he goes back into the party, like, oh, okay, we're back on. Maybe it's
maybe it'll still happen. Yeah.
It's a long first act, very long first act.
They were at the
Yeah.
party for so long that I was like, please let it just be the party is just the movie. That would have been
Yeah.
Mine's comparatively pretty basic. Like you guys had some good moments to be the Home Alone, but mine's literally like once it's who does she choose was sort of when it kicked. I know for you guys it sort of kicked down a notch, but for me I was like, who will she choose? And I think that in my opinion that's when the movie like kind of gets going as the movie. So
You thought she might choose Tommy and just
well, she kind of did choose Tommy for like so long, and then Randy had to be a weird pervert for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So she was like, you know what? I love this weird pervert. He's so weird. He's so weird.
So violent.
Everybody's saying
I
how
love
weird he is.
when a man punches another man for my love. I'm gonna choose the man.
Yeah.
Who punches
That's what
me.
it came down to, didn't it?
You know what? This couple now, 40 years later. Well, during the 90s, they definitely had a thing where they would go to like a bowling alley or a bar, and she would start flirting with some guy, and then Randy would beat the fuck out of him, and then they'd go home and bang.
He tried stalking her. It didn't work. She said, "No, I'm gonna need some violence right in front of me."
Yeah. Great. So I guess that just leaves the MPAA guessing game. Let's go.
Oh, your voice is fucked, bud.
I pushed it. Steve, what do you?
I'm trying to find it. There's so many things. There's so many things now. Here it is.
It's time to play Guess the MPAA.
Hello and welcome to the #1 game show in the history of game shows. My name is Skip Terwilliger, and I'm here to tell you that you have chosen the correct game show to come on, and the rules are very simple. I'm going to turn them over to my co-host, Stephen R. Skipping Stone, to tell us that's actually pretty good because your last name is Waters. To tell us the rules. They're very simple.
The rules, you see, are as follows. Come to the valley, look at the valley, and wonder why the valley's here. But then you see several numbers, 5 to be exact, but you only need to guess 3, the last 3. There's a number, blank, blank, and then there's 3 other numbers there. Between 999 and 000. We only need to guess those 3. And when we guess those 3, the game will be over. Don't worry about the other 2. Just these 3. 000 versus 999. That's what we do.
So essentially, the reason for that is every single movie in existence has a MPAA certificate rating number. I'm going to give you the first two numbers. Those are the two numbers you don't have to worry about. That's just aesthetics. The first two numbers this week are 2-6. Okay, Jake, I think you played this game before, so you may or may not remember. It was a long time ago.
I remember it well. No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm totally lost.
Okay, so I just need you to give it's a basically guess a number between
Just
0
numbers?
and 999.
Cool.
Yeah, so Jake, give me your first number. I'll tell you if you're higher or lower.
7.
6007. It is, let me check my notes here, higher, a lot higher. Steve.
I will choose the number is 777.
Okay, Jake, it's higher than that.
Ooh.
Higher than 7 and higher than 777.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. 8. I'm going to say 7. 7.
Okay. Steve, it is higher than 877.
Whoa. 900 flat.
Jake, for your final guess, it is higher than 900.
Oh.
977.
Wow. Steve, for your final guess, it is higher than 977.
978. Say it.
979.
Now, neither of you have gotten it correct. What I'll allow you to do, however, is earn another guess.
What is it, lower or higher?
It's higher.
How do I earn another guess, or do I just get another guess?
You're going to earn another guess by telling me. This is now Price is Right rules. Telling me what the box office gross is for this movie. I will tell you that it is between 10 million and 20 million. So, Jake, for an additional guess, you guess without going over, and you get an additional guess between 10 million and 20 million.
I'm going to say 18 million. That's too much. That's too high. 17 million. 18 million. 950,000.
Hey, well, you've gone over. If you would have just stuck 17, you would have. So that's a little spoiler for Steve. Would you like to guess?
$10,001.
Okay, Steve, what's your final guess for the MPAA? 2.6, higher than 979.
9.
No.
8. Three. Damn. He gets excited when I get it right. His face is blank.
You're wrong. So that was our MPAA. That was our
I don't get it
MPAA.
right very often.
Okay, so just to let you guys know, the MPAA certificate number was 26992. The box office was 17.3 million. So, Jake, you would have gotten an additional guess off of that, and a budget of $3 million. And with that, we can finally go to our final thoughts. We're very close to getting out of here, Jake.
God.
I can turn the last segments into 10 minutes. So let's get her.
Oh, good.
Final thoughts.
Jason, it's hard when I'm playing a game and then I also have to track where it is, all right?
We'll
Just tell
stop
him.
playing
Just
video
say.
games.
It's time for our final
I'm
thoughts.
on the edge of my seat over here. Did I win? Did I lose? I gotta figure out where the thing is. And then...
What's that from? What's that sound?
You know, come on.
No, I can't remember. I can't pull it right now. Just tell me.
It's
Just tell me.
Listen.
Prices.
Listen.
Nope.
Listen. Oh,
It's a supermarket sweep.
Close.
Overthinking.
America. This is you.
Thank
Bum,
you.
ba-da, bum.
We're locking in our studio audience is locking in their answers. Yeah.
You know, as different as we all are,
Right.
we all knew America's Funniest Home Videos, right?
We're all the same.
We're that generation of kids.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We saw a guy fall off a tree into a pool, and he clearly had broken bones. And we're all like,
face first on a rake. I heard they got it on the 17th take. That was the first time I thought things could be fake. Weird Al kind of exposed me to the fact that America's Funniest Home Videos might not be as funny as you thought. Jake, the guest always goes first here on Hey, Did You See This One? Why don't you give us your final thoughts? And if you have a rating for the movie, please give it to us, whether it be a star rating out of 5 out of 10 or some nonsense that you would like to spout and tell us all about.
I am amazed that I've been able to give you as many thoughts as I have tonight on this film. I'm amazed that we've had so much to say about it. I think we did a wonderful job. It's been a wonderful show. I'm looking at my notes. I don't see any stone left unturned. I don't think anyone has ever done a better job than we've done here tonight in picking this movie apart. All that's left to do is give it my rating. I'll give it 526 chest hairs out of a possible 1,000. I thought it was nice to look at times, sometimes hard to look at. Sometimes nice to listen to, sometimes hard to listen to. What are the other senses? Well, you get the idea.
Smell, feel it. You can smell it, you can feel it, you can think about it.
Think about it. I turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Jake. Steve, you know what to do. Oh my God.
Give me what I want. Give me what I want.
Oh my goodness. Steve, your final thoughts for the film Valley Girl starring Nic Cage. And we're going to close the cage today. So,
all right. Oh, yeah. No. Am I locked in here for another year? Yes, you are Nicolas Cage. And I have to tell you that Valley Girl was not good. I think it was all right. No, it wasn't. Yeah, you're right. It was bad. I don't understand this movie, but I do understand what this movie did to cinema for a long time. And it created a thing that I don't really like. I have an issue with teen drama and teen like comedy in general, unless it's extremely creative or very sort of like well crafted. Or, as we talked about many times throughout this podcast, a monster shows up and kills all the teenagers. Then I love it. I love a dumb character being like, I don't know which boy to choose. Welcome to prime time, bitch. Like, you know, like I'm in for that. Yeah, come on. But this movie didn't really do anything for me. I liked the moment where I realized the parents were supposed to be hippies. When I realized they were supposed to be hippies, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's fun. I like that they're hippies. But it didn't salvage the rest of the movie. I like the fact that Kip or Skip or whatever his name is being molested by this woman. And when I realized like that she's a woman and that he's a teenager, I didn't like it anymore. I'm like, what's going on? This is not good. And then it made me think about all the other problematic shit that came after it, that this movie may have not necessarily influenced or spawned, but like is complicit to. I don't like this movie. And if you do, that's fine. And I assume there's something in there for you, but for me, there isn't. The only thing that I really liked about this movie was when the boyfriend to boyfriend interaction was him disguised in like the hitman fashion as a guy at a movie theater, and and he's wearing 3D glasses. The other guy's like, is this in 3D? And he's like, no, but your face is. Like, I laughed out loud because that's not a joke. Like, that's not really a joke at all. But I thought it was funny because of how like inept everything else in the movie was. And like, that's a joke. No, they just like threw that in there because they didn't have anything else to do. So did I like this movie? Yes, I loved it. I loved it. I loved every minute
That
of it.
sigh was the ultimate review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had to give it an actual review, I would give it showing up to someone's house unannounced, but then leaving the house and then going down the street and putting a nickel in to be like, I should probably make sure that they know I'm coming. Think. Waiting for the thing to ring, and then it doesn't ring. And then no one picks up, and you're like, what do I do now? That's this movie.
Give me what I want. Give me what I want.
Also, this movie is nonsense. Overall, it seems to be a fantasy for teen girls who want to be lusted over by two men. It's not particularly offensive. It just kind of is there. I was a little into it from the beginning, or at the beginning. But once it becomes a love triangle, like the worst love triangle you've ever seen, it starts to like fall apart. Like the seams really start to show, like it's not really a love triangle in so much that it's like this girl being like, I want like a cool punk guy, I want like a cool preppy guy, but both of those guys suck and she's an idiot. It's a prototype for movies from my era, of high school comedies, but this movie isn't really ever funny except for like the few moments that are either like funny or unintentionally funny and we got a laugh out of. I wonder what I would have thought about this movie had I had watched it at like 16 or 17 like we discussed. And for that, unfortunately, I only give this a 2.3 out of 5. I also give this movie a whatever.
Oh,
yeah.
Give me what I want. Give me what I want.
What I want right now is we'll do some plugs and then we will finally get the fuck out of this place.
All right, let me just plug this in right here and
You guys hearing this? Is that guy okay?
He's dead. He's fucking... So, Jake, do you have anything that you would like to plug this week?
Oh yeah, sure. I need a job. Any job. Any job at all.
Sorry to laugh with just your delivery.
No, that's okay. I'm dead serious. I need work. Follow me at on Instagram, the world's most amazing man on Instagram. I'll move a box from point A to point B. I'll wash your dishes. I don't know how to use a lawnmower, but I can learn. You can teach me pretty much anything. I'm willing to do anything. If only it were so easy to get a job at a movie theater or at a drive-in restaurant, but it's not the 80s anymore. I can't stalk you on your date and work wherever your dates take you. But I can plead and beg for help into a webcam, and that's what I'm doing right now. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you, Jake.
Not funny.
Chucky, get out of here!
He's always laughing at the most inopportune time.
Chuck off.
Chuck off. Jake, thank you for coming on tonight.
It's been my pleasure.
Steve, tell us about your plugs for this week, buddy.
So Darth Theorist as usual, but we also have a new channel called The Three-Eyed Theorist, which is doing all right. It's not doing great, but it's doing pretty good quick, like compared to the last one. This one's taken off pretty quickly. We're almost at 2 million on Darth Theorist, so we're going we're trying to bring it over to this one as well. So if you guys like Game of Thrones, you guys know Game of Thrones, the show, like dun, 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 dun,
Dun.
yeah, it's like that, but it's like me being like, oh, what the frick is going on over here with the Iceman or whatever, like if you like hearing me do that, then you can hear me do that a whole bunch on that channel. And then other than that, I'm on True Crime Stories. It's an ongoing true crime sort of like podcasty type thing, but not like this where we talk live, but and it gives me nightmares every single night. I go to bed every night and I think about the horrifying things I read into a microphone. All the
Are you
time.
just doing the narration, or are you like involved in the research and
It
stuff?
was 1994, and Juliana Juloni Dooney was horrified to find her husband's head splattered open on her kitchen floor.
I think I've heard that one.
Yeah, it was me. I did it. So yeah, go watch that. And then I do another one about submarines, which is the other good one. But
All right.
I'm up.
All right. That's Fiverr, buddy. I told you, Jake. I told you.
It's time for a synopsis, bitch.
Why did that play? I think you just wanted to hear Frederic Krugerson. Listen, Dr. Teeth, I wouldn't take this movie to international waters either. I want to let everybody know, Dr. Teeth especially, that right here on Instagram, oh shit, Arjun Trivedi just said I'm depressed now over on Instagram. Speaking of, I'd like to let everybody know that this podcast, Hey Did You See This One, takes place right here on Twitch, right here on YouTube, right here on Facebook, each and every week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Okay, Eastern. Yeah. For any perverts that think you're going to be like, Greenwich Mean Time or whatever. Please come watch us. We have a great time. Lots of people came through tonight. We had a really good time talking about this film. We can take the worst movie possible and get too many hours out of it. In addition to that, I am the voice of Superkick Pro Wrestling. We have a show tomorrow night.
Hell yeah. Tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's our Royal Rumble situation. Don't call it that. Rumble in the dot.
Are you going to be in the Rumble this time?
Wait, is Royal Rumble like secured by?
Probably.
Oh God.
More
the
than
Battle
likely.
Royale, if you will. Jace, if you're going to be in the Battle Royale, you got to let me know. These things matter.
I'll always tell you I'm going to be. I'm going to try to be.
You guys think that Prince Philip is like, or King Philip is like, no, we are the ones who are the fucking royal.
No, I thought you meant WWE. The WWE owns the copyright on Royal Rumble.
I just like the idea of him like using his big, giant, swollen hands to punch somebody. Like
November 29th.
All the blood is his own hands bleeding off of people's teeth and shit because they're so swollen and they just cut open easily.
At the Great Hall, you might see me get clotheslined over a top rope. I think 99% sure I'm going to be in the Rumble tomorrow night. In addition to that, we are, of course, card-carrying members of the United Federation of Podcasts. And on top of that, we have some merch. We've got our...
Jason, can you get 3 people in tomorrow?
I can get at least 1 to 2 people in. Probably.
Can you get 3 people into the Rumble?
That's almost 3. Yeah.
Yeah, Jason and the Rumble are riot, so you'll have to come and check it out.
All right.
Thanks, Dr. Teeth. You're right. Hated to see this one stands.
I'm just saying I'm going out with a couple of doctors tomorrow. I could say that these guys are doctors. They need to make sure his teeth don't get knocked out of his head.
Well, just name drop me and we'll see. Well, let's talk tomorrow.
All right.
We have some merch. It's on Redbubble and TeePublic. We got the Grimoire Familiar Killers work that Steve did. We got the Kill Aid. We've got Twinkerbell, the most unhinged. Look, he's got a boner, clearly. And,
he doesn't have a boner. What the heck are you talking about?
Look at his penis area. It's pointing up.
Oh my God, it does look like he has a boner. Fuck.
Right?
I thought that was I drew that and I don't even know.
I wouldn't change a thing.
And coming soon, Zardos, who, why, who, how, who, what that says.
How,
is that-
why, who, what occurs.
Thank you. Will be coming down the pipe very soon. And other than that, just watch this show. I would like to personally thank Jake for coming on again. I know it's long, but you know, we did everything we did everything we had to do to talk about this movie. So
We had a good long time.
it's true.
I loved every minute of it.
We're gonna have another great time when we watch Survivor Series in 2 days. So
Fuck yeah, I'll see you there.
Bada boom.
Maybe tomorrow night
see ya.
at the Rumble.
Hey. But with that said, Jake,
Yeah.
there's one very important question that needs to be asked each and every week, and I'd like you to ask it for us right now.
All right.
It's the name of the show.
Hang on now. Hey, could you? Oh wait. Hey, did you see this one?
Oh my goodness. Oh my damn. Oh my
God.
goodness.
It's just me and you.
Well, he had to go.
Me and you. And I
That's
have to tell
understandable,
you,
though.
Jason, I've been trying to not, I've been hiding my accent for all these years. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do anymore about it.
Why not? Why not? You don't have to know.
If everybody knows, you don't know anything about it, they don't want to tell me what I'm supposed to sound like. That.
What do you know about being a bastard?
Nobody knows. Nobody but me, Jon Snow, bastard of the North.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.